Dope.
Yo,
You know what works? This might work for you later in the future. Uh,
not having Instagram.
I held the button down and then I clicked open camera from the actual app from holding the app button and then it worked. I don't know why. Bro,
Dude, I
this is
got
gonna be
no
after
idea,
if I
man.
figure it out.
Ever since my shit's been verified, I can't like do video calls, man. I don't
Yeah,
know.
they're like, here's the privilege for trust and to make money, but you won't be able to communicate with people.
I think, yeah, it's gotta be some weird glitch, man. I don't know. For a while, I had two check marks.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I got a screenshot of that. I had two check marks for a few days.
Oh shit.
Shit was
That's,
weird, man.
you
Yeah.
you gonna share one?
What's that?
You ain't gonna share one with me or what?
Yeah, yeah. Toss you one.
Yeah,
I'm
that'd be
trying to.
sick if it was like Clubhouse, you get verified and you got an extra check to give away.
Yeah, no shit.
But all right, just jump into it. Mr. Old Money.
Yo.
Is that how
So,
they refer to you?
uh, depending on who they are.
Well, let's first of all, how did you get your name, bro?
And sorry I look like shit. I just been like up day and
Same,
night
bro. Same.
working. But yeah, I got my name because Old Money was the name of my crew back in the day. In New York, we were a dance hall and Afro pop and like hard like UK funky grime crew. So it was like me, a Jamaican dude, and a Guyanese guy. We're all immigrants to North America. So that
Shit.
was our big joke for us is like, yeah, old money, like, because we had none.
Damn.
And then it just kind of stuck. And then everybody back home, when I'd come back, they just kept calling me old money. Like most people don't even know that that's not my last name at this
Yeah,
point. So I'm
I
just like,
would
yeah, of
assume.
course. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's my name. Yeah, old money.
Damn, that's funny.
Yeah,
So I'm pretty sure everybody knows you currently from Cyberpunk. Your biggest, I would say that's your biggest thing right now. But how did you get
yeah.
started to
Right
begin with?
now, I got started on the first one. I don't. It was SSX Deadly Descents.
How old were you?
I was young, man. I was a young, good-looking man. Jesus. I was like in my I was like in my early 20s. You know,
Damn.
I'm 38 now.
And
So,
just to put in perspective, how long were you making music until that finally happened?
bro. I mean, yeah, that was like I think 6 years before I got that opportunity, and that was like it was pretty wild to get on that project. Like it was definitely a thing that doesn't really happen for a lot of people.
Yeah, is
Um,
it one of those things where you get one and that kind of credential helps you get other ones later?
yeah, and like the interesting thing about this whole like circuit in video games and in I think multimedia in general is that if you do good work, a lot of people end up being repeat customers, right? So you do the one, you kill it, and usually that one will have various iterations and titles, and it just kind of continues. So you
One thing
know,
that really impressed me was I went out of my way to read your Forbes article, and I was like, dude, nah, there's this one line where you say people come to you specifically for that old money sound.
yeah,
And I'm like, yo, like that's a fucking milestone right there. Like
yeah,
for people to know you have your own sound. So like
yeah,
how do you describe it? How did you come to develop it to begin with? Like to where you're like, all right, this is my thing, this is my
yeah.
pattern, same creative process, don't change it.
Yeah, you know what? There was like a moment. Basically, it kind of started in the Fight Night franchise that I was working on, and it
Which one?
was
Which game was that?
I did every Fight Night, I
What?
think. Yeah, and all the UFCs except for no, I didn't do UFC one. I did UFC two, three, and four.
Bro, Fight Night
Um,
Round 3, that
yeah,
Akon record, you know what I'm talking
Fight,
about?
yeah. Fighting the champion,
Woo!
fighting around, dude. Yeah, I love Fight Night. And it was so that was like, yeah, I did, man. I'm like losing track of the games I did. It's too many at this point. Oh, look at how many games I did. But now, like, really, it's like hard. I gotta like look back and I'm like, wait, which fucking was it? Two, three? But yeah, basically, through it was kind of like a discovery process of like meeting the things that people need me to do. So like I would have I had like targets on fight night that were like the music supervisors wanted a certain type of sound and they were thinking like, it would be dope to have like hip hop stuff and blah blah blah. But you know, a lot of this shit is like hard edge, like rock and orchestral and metal that is so prevalent in this type of like in subculture of fans. So over that period, I started experimenting with a lot of like these punch you in the face, like crossover boom bap, and then hip hop and like contemporary hip hop mixed with like large orchestral stuff, and it ended up being just really good music to like slap your fucking grandma to on the
Bro,
way to working out on steroids.
I'm
You
tripping. I
know,
just realized boom bap is the pattern. Boom, boom, bap. Like,
yeah,
why did I just
yeah.
realize that?
Ah. Well, if you were a drum teacher, oh shit, Heartbreak is here too. Oh, and Andrea, hello, both of y'all. Heartbreak, that's the man, dude. Oh, yo, you want to fucking have a preview? I'm working on this right now for this new track with Heartbreak and Frost. Hold on.
Nice.
It's like the meanest beat ever. This beat is ridiculous. It's just
Bro,
like
that's such a compliment. Like,
it's just so angry.
it's such a compliment that you're working on somebody's shit like while they're in your live, though. You know, like,
Yo,
damn.
right now I'm in the middle of like 4 projects that are just murdering my fucking life. So I'm trying to get everything done. I'm trying to crunch out like 20 records in like
That's
five
a good
days.
problem. That's a good problem to
Oh,
have.
it's great. Yeah, it's what's interesting too about like, the world of like sync and games and movies and all that is that you're like working around kind of production deadlines. So what happens oftentimes um, is it kind of all piles up, and you end up having like production schedules the same. So if you pitch for a few shows or if you're working on a few shows, their deadlines are going to be around the kind of the same time. So I've noticed that like a lot of this stuff, like the quarterlies and the when they're doing certain things, is when you're going to be fucking busy, right? So right now it's been kind of like that, but it is great. The problem, like I said, yeah, definitely. But
I'm impressed how you're. I feel like this is what you do. That you're creating other opportunities for like other people that are around you because they may not be as well known. Not to say that you're this huge household name yet, but it seems like you're working with other people that are, like I don't see you with huge major artist features. You know, you're trying to
no.
create opportunities for other people that are around you, close to you.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the for me, I've been working with a lot of these dudes for years and these girls as well. Like these, like I got rappers and singers and all sorts of artists that I work with, and I just like I don't need like I would love a Travis Scott on my song, but you know what I wouldn't love? I wouldn't love his team on my song.
Shit.
Not I'm saying personally Travis Scott, but I'm saying
Yeah,
anyone that's like a AAA artist.
yeah.
As soon as you got to deal with their team, it's like they're cool, but like just shit takes forever because the whale is so large,
Damn,
right?
that's a
So
deep
it's
quote.
like it's like you just got this gigantic fucking whale slowly moving along, and all these little fishies got to eat. And by the time the whale gets from point A to point B, you're fucked. Like you'll
Elaborate
miss.
on that a little bit. Like, what takes so long?
Well,
You know,
for example, most major artists are gonna have a publishing company. They're gonna have one. They're gonna have a day-to-day manager, a general manager. They're going to have a schedule that is really tight on top of that. Now, the publishing company is going to take forever to respond because that's how they get money, right? So they will like take forever to sign anything. They're just going to stall the process. Like if we are in a hurry, you can bet your ass the publisher is going to take a couple fucking months unless they're a small publisher and they're really cool,
what?
right? So like
Well,
so many artists that are signed to publishing, unless they got a really good flow with their publisher and they put in like kind of I guess fail safes in order to keep a flexible like sign off on shit. Like so many of them have a problem with this because it's like they have a team where they need certain people to say yes and no to stuff, and they need signatures and they need counter signatures and blah 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 blah. And you can find yourself really quickly missing one opportunity after the next. Meanwhile, I got all these really really talented artists around me that are a available, b hungry, and dependable. Like why wouldn't I, right? Like why wouldn't I reach out to them? It's like not only are they my homies and I can help them out and like
but
throw
they're ready.
something, but
They're
it's
ready to go.
yeah. And it's like for me, I a big part of like my advantage is that I can tap a lot of people on the shoulder. I got an assembly line of like really dope artists that are just ready to go, right?
That's
And
nasty.
so like, yeah, people can come to me and they know that they're going to me and they're immediately having access to like 15, 20 artists immediately that do different things really well.
Which, not to say this is a bad thing, but that's how you get a bunch of unknown people on these major type of things like games and
Mm-hmm.
shit.
Yeah, and like, also what's cool is a lot of these game companies and multimedia companies and all that. Yo, David.
Is
This
it?
this yo, David Jimenez Randazzo that just joined. This motherfucker, he's one of the most epic people I know, by the way. Dude, his story, yeah, like if you know anything about like the about Cryo Man and that whole franchise,
Oh
this
shit.
is the dude that put all that together.
Man.
But
But is it a budget thing though? Like, would they rather go to these indie people?
no, budget isn't like with like they have different scales of budgets and different tiers. Usually companies have different tiers. What it is for them is the right product at the right time.
Ah,
Like
that's more
price,
important.
there's like standard prices for things and whatever. Of course, budget will play a role, but in my experience, what seems to be the most important is getting the shit done on time so that nobody loses their job,
Shit.
you know?
Yeah.
And it becomes harder and harder to get custom work. Like you go to me, I'll make you custom music for your shit. You get like a boutique experience, from me, but you get music that doesn't sound like no fucking boutique, nobody experience,
Yeah.
you know? So, that's the way I've kind of shaped my
Hey,
business from the get-go.
how common is it? Because I know my first publishing deals that ever did anything with me, they were all like exclusive 50-50 type of deals. And it's always that quote like, well, 50% is better than 0% of nothing.
Yeah.
But how standard is that? Like, do you see boutique publishers or are you negotiating no matter what?
You're always negotiating stuff, man. The biggest thing in my experience has been positioning, like what opportunities are you coming to the table with? Like where's your real leverage, right? Because the reality is for us artists, man, there's a million of us. There's millions of us everywhere. And when it comes to these big companies, they can just swap you. Like we're very interchangeable.
Yeah.
And that's and understanding that and understanding how that works keeps you on your toes and it keeps you effective. Like a lot of people forget, they let their artist egos get in the way, and it's just kind of shit goes downhill.
Man, speaking of that, so I want to talk about a little bit about how like we kind of met, kind of, not
Hmm.
really, but
Yeah,
you don't have to go into too
yeah.
much.
You
You don't
don't
have
have
to.
you don't have to fucking talk about the hearts you've been sending me. Like,
Oh.
hey, slide.
But look.
We got to make
Now,
one up. No, you first got to make up a story about how we met. Yeah, make up like an epic. Like we were walking through the
nah.
hallway at school. I dropped my books. You dropped your books. Our heads bonked together when we were picking them up.
Someone slammed you into a locker and I stood up for you.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty simple.
That's right. Yeah. But
Classic.
yeah, no.
Classic. But all right, look, you don't have to go into too much detail. I don't know what you've done on your end or what has been solidified. But before I get into that, you had the best music on Cyberpunk. Let's be clear. Like the
Thank you.
best shit.
Thanks, man.
Everybody, even the comments on YouTube, they're like, "Yo, Konrad carried this whole game," and I'm like, "Man, like, it's true, bro." And we're gonna talk
Thanks.
about Cyberpunk in a second too.
Yeah.
But one of my friends, when I told him I was doing this interview, he's like, "I feel like you can talk to anybody you want now." He goes, "It's the money, power, and respect." And I go, "Hold up, like this isn't true at all." Like I think the purpose I'm asking you this is people need to understand that when you provide value to other people, that's how you move up. Like you don't have to be anybody, you don't have to have money, but you can get some respect if you're helping other people and put them in positions. So just talk a little bit about like how we even came into communication.
Yeah, basically, you ended up hitting me on DM on IG, just reaching out, saying what's up, asking about some of the music from Cyberpunk, and I get, it's in my general, so it took me a couple days. I just randomly scroll through there,
Yeah.
and you brought an opportunity my way about like, hey, my sister's got this like thing happening with a commercial. Maybe you're interested, which is like just What's funny is, I was telling my homeboy about that, one of my business partners out here in Canada, and he was like, "Yeah, you know, that's like pretty much the right way to kind of do shit.
Shit.
Like, be like, hit up somebody with something to say. If you're like trying to get to know someone in the music business, it's not like you got to like, oh, here, I'm trading you this thing, but it's like he's just genuinely, like, generally a good dude. He reached out with an opportunity. He's like, hey, I got this thing and I like your music, and I'm thinking like, I know a guy that's perfect for this project, which is like hilarious because, like, for example, today, that's like literally how I've lived my whole damn life. Like today, I was at my homie's cafe. All right, he's got this cafe, and it's a really dope cafe in Vancouver, Canada. They got motorbikes inside and all this shit, dope ambiance. And he's kind of like stressed out because his baker is being kind of annoying. And he's like, yo, I'm having problems with my baker. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait, one of my homegirls is a songwriter. She's like an ill songwriter. She has a fucking bakery. She has a full on, and she's like an epic baker. She bakes these giant cakes. So I was like, I'll get you a baker. So I quickly like hit her up and I was like, hey, you want to put a bunch of your cakes and cookies and shit into this cafe on Main Street? She's like, I would love that. And now both people are happy. I'm like, right on. Like literally 5 minutes and
Yeah.
two people have some like a positive connection. Great. Like, and I just keep it moving. It's not like I'm expecting like, now I get free cookies
Yeah, yeah.
forever. It's just like, if you can make something happen, make it
Facilitate.
happen. Like, why
Facilitate.
not? Right? It's like easy. Of course you got to be smart. Like, like there is some people go out on a limb too much and they end up feeling used or whatever because they're not really communicating what their expectancies are. But like for the most part, I just kind of am like, yeah, if I can do some shit, I'm gonna do it. If I can't, I won't, and that's it. And like, you kind of hit me in the same way, which is like, yeah, hey, what's up? I like your music, blah blah. And I'm like, oh, right on. And then you're like, oh, you want to, maybe try out for this thing because you might be the right fit, which is awesome. Yeah.
And it was just interesting because she's literally sending me playlists and I'm listening to every song on this playlist and I'm like, yeah, but this ain't as cool as that one song on that radio that I heard. You know what I mean? And this
Yeah.
is me not knowing that you're not the rapper. You're just the
Yeah.
producer who's featuring these people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
also another interesting fact is shout out to Taylor Young because he absolutely killed that
Yeah.
record.
He bodied that shit. Yeah.
But I had this weird idea, like he sounded like a white dude, and then it was like almost relieving to know that he was like this Asian. I was like, yo, that's good because now I can like the song even more for some reason. I don't know. It's
He's
like,
a Korean dude. Yeah. He's like, it's so interesting because he's like a real like Long Beach kind of rapper, like real MC. Like I've been working with him forever.
yeah,
I love the way he delivers, man. He's just so fun.
yeah,
He's loose about it,
yeah. That
Um,
that noodle line obviously stuck out.
dude, noodle making pasta. Dude, yo, that line low key has some like
Passing all these
history.
rappers like Esker, I'm like, oh my god.
Dude, that line's got a history. That line, we've been
Yeah,
sitting on that line
yeah.
for I think 8 years or something, 7 years. That line was literally like something that him and we cut a record a long time ago with that line for UFC, and it didn't make it onto UFC, and we just tabled it. And then we were writing for Cyberpunk, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm gonna try to get Noodle making pasta up in this video." I'm like, "It has to." And after the game came out, I hit up my guys at EA. I'm like, "Noodle making pasta is alive," because everyone is
Oh
like,
my
"Yo, Noodle
god.
making pasta."
It's like an ongoing joke. I love it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's like it's crazy because there's some like really, really top of the top people in the gaming industry who have known that line, and we've recalled that line for years, bro,
Oh,
years. And we were like one day, and like me and my boy Freddie and Ricardo, like the game, the Freddie is the game producer at EA. He's a
yeah.
senior producer, I believe, now at this point. And Ricardo was the music director at EA. We've been talking about that line forever. We're like, yeah, one day, man, one
Oh
day,
my god.
Noodle making pasta is gonna. And so when it did, I hit him up. I was like, dude, it's there. We made it.
Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome.
That's
Yeah,
badass.
yeah.
What else is kind of crazy is how wide range of a variety that your genre is on this game. Because you're going
Oh,
from like
yeah,
reggaeton to boom bap. So,
yeah,
dude, nobody thinks you're producing everything, like the majority of the records on
yeah,
this thing. Like, how do
yeah.
you even, where did these influences come from?
Uh, well, basically for me, I was an immigrant to Canada when I was like 11 years old from Eastern Europe, and I ended up being like falling in love with all these different things about other cultures. And I found myself first falling in love with hip hop, which was like Lords of the Underground was my first mixtape I bought when I moved here. And then I started, but I wanted to learn everything about it. I wanted to learn everything about the culture around hip hop, and I started really studying it. And then when I got older, I, met my friends out in New York, and I started producing world town music, like world music for like African Boy, like an artist under MIA's label back in the day in the early 2000s during MySpace days. So then but I'm like, yo, if I'm gonna be going out there making like, kind of Afro pop and like that kind of shit and dance hall music, I better learn. So I literally moved to Brooklyn into like the projects with my friends that live there, and I just like tried to learn as much about both African and Jamaican culture as I could, like all the slang, all the everything, how the dances work, everything before I even touched the music. And then when I was like ready, when I felt like I could sit in a room full of producers who are seasoned in this, I would at least know what references are pulling, blah, blah. So then I went into that. And then when I felt like I had that under control, then I started making pop music. And then I started a pop band with Illmind, this other producer.
Oh, we'll get into
And
that. We'll get into
and
that.
then yeah, and then we did that. And then I studied up hard on pop, but by then I already had my like hip hop and my world chops up really heavy. So I just kind of started pulling a lot of influences from all
Yeah,
those things.
it sounds like you started well rounded, like learning everything at once.
Yeah, which was funny because at the beginning that was a problem, right? Because
Yeah,
it's like, you're a jack of all trades, master of none. That's how
yeah.
people think, right? People think, oh, well, he can't be adept at blah, blah, blah. But I just didn't sleep. I just worked really hard and I got good at that shit. Like, you can authentically learn many things.
And
It's not
but
like
now
you got
that
to be
helps
stuck in
because
one thing.
now you're just like, what do you need? What kind of sound you want? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the thing that I do. Like, oh, I started on Cyberpunk as just hip hop, and they're like, oh, we need like Latin music and stuff. They're like, do you know it? I'm like, dude, are you kidding? I got you. And then I just ended up doing every single song on that Latin station except for one. I was like, fuck, I almost had a full shutout.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Um,
I like the other song that's on there. I was like, okay, well, at least I picked a good
yeah.
one.
Damn, that reminds me. I need to introduce you to Latin cumbia DJ El Dusty
Oh
from.
yeah,
Yeah, I used to live in Corpus, but he's Grammy nominated as well. But I think y'all can make it
sick.
dope.
Oh,
But
that's dope, man.
a
Yeah.
couple more questions on Cyberpunk, and then we'll change topics. One, what were these contracts like? Like, are you getting back end world? What about the artists? You know what I mean? Or was this upfront kind of payments?
Well, usually I don't really discuss contract details,
Yeah, yeah.
just
Just
because it's just
whatever you can.
yeah. Like, I mean, they're standard from most contracts. I mean, these are, I made the music custom, so it was standard in some ways, but it wasn't regular sync contracts. So, it's like you get some money up front and you also retain your copyright and you end up trying to exploit that copyright to get money in the back. And like that's kind of like a lot of the mechanics of this game for us were a little bit different because they weren't just doing library pulls being like, hey, this was custom music. So, there was caveats that you wouldn't normally see. But, every game is different and every game offers different things.
I guess a
Like,
better question would be like, are the artists that were featured, are they still able to benefit like more so now after the fact, or is it more of something that you're benefiting as you're making it one time kind of thing?
well, you're benefiting on being on the biggest game in the world.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like no matter how much money I throw at somebody, like that's not going to outdo the billion fucking plays and eyeballs for hours and hours and hours that your fucking voice and your likeness is being exposed to.
Kind of like the Super Bowl in a way, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like I just equate it, a good way to kind of explain this to artists is billboard space.
Shit.
How much money would you pay for billboard space to have, let's say, 40 million people see your billboard?
It's a good quote, actually.
Right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, now if I'm putting you on this game and you're a fucking nobody or just a beginner artist or
Yeah.
whatever, and you're not even pulling traffic, you think you could ever afford even a fraction of that billboard for even a day? No, you'd probably have to sell your fucking kidney for like one day's worth of that kind of traffic and that kind of like social impact. And not only that, but then you look past the billboard space and you think about the fact that now you're legit. Now you go up to another company and you go, hey, I just did 3 songs on
Damn.
Cyberpunk. And they go, oh, fuck. Okay, so someone's actually buying your shit. You're not just fucking, hoop dreaming it up over here for me. Okay, cool. Like now you can turn around and you've now been legitimized as a person in that field. And not only that, on the biggest title in the decade
Yep.
for whatever, And like, so I'm like, yo, to me, all that shit is a no brainer. I've
So,
worked such creative contracts. I've done so many things just to get on shit. And that's how you get on shit is you got to understand what you're actually looking at. Um, it's nuts, man. Like, something like, and it's just the nature of the industry. Like,
um, okay. One question: have you ever signed any bad contracts?
no,
Okay, that's a good answer. All right, I definitely have.
no. Well, you have?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is like, but are they? Because think of it this way. It's like when you sign your, bad contract, what happened from it?
Are you asking?
Yeah. Like what
Um,
happened is in like, okay, so you signed, actually, I'll make it a rhetorical question because I guess it doesn't need to be personal, but
yeah,
you sign a bad contract and then you're mad, right? Because your song didn't do the thing or whatever, right? But you learned.
yeah.
You learned what to look out for, learned what not to look out for. Like, like to me, that is like a mantra for all of life. It's like, yeah, everything can be bad. Even the best things can be bad. I know motherfuckers with millions and millions of dollars in their accounts and their every day is bad, right? And it's like, and they could look at that and be like, money's bad. And like, I've literally heard that kind of shit. And I'm like, no, your fucking way of using money is bad. And it's like, yeah, well, I signed a bad contract. Well, you signed a contract that's not in your favor,
Yeah.
but it's only a bad contract if there was absolutely nothing that you drew out of it as a conclusion.
You're
So
saying
I'm
like
like,
if you didn't learn from it.
yeah, it's like, yo, it's like ending a relationship. And it's like, well, that was a bad relationship. But it's like, no, it's just a relationship that fell the fuck apart. And if you didn't learn what you want from it, then it's kind of bad, but that's on you.
That's a good
You
point.
can't fault anyone but yourself. And like, same as with our music industry. It's like, us artists, we tend to be like very like, we get so personal with our music to a point where we're like, we get mad at the things that don't work like on a level that I see successful people don't. Like successful people are like, oh, this contract isn't like working out or I don't like it. I'm gonna get a fucking lawyer and I'm just gonna get him to fix it while I just work on more shit and I'm not even gonna think about that. And
Yeah.
that's it. And you just task someone else while you do more, right? So I'm like, yeah, I don't think there is really like, yeah, of course you can sign contracts that fuck you over, but like you can also walk into traffic. Like it's all random to me. It's like whatever, just
I don't
you
take you
know.
as the type of person who like really needs to outsource their own contracts either, right? I think you have a pretty good grasp on how to read your and negotiate
Well,
your own
I have lawyers
work.
because you put the wrong fucking here to therefore now if in the fucking sentence and your shit
Wow.
means something different.
Wow.
Like literally, like my lawyer is like pretty fucking badass. He was on the front cover of the fucking newspaper the other week, like for
And that's another thing though is
yeah,
you need music lawyers. Like you can't just find a regular.
yeah. That's a whole different thing. Yeah. I swear, man. I mean, some of the lawyers that I've come across in the music industry, I'm like, y'all motherfuckers are like real estate agents. Like
Yeah.
you're not a lawyer. You're not a lawyer. You're a real estate agent. You fucking you like trying to sell me a house right now. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh
You know,
shit.
like it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's like, what are you even reading? And a real music lawyer will look at that and they'll be like, bah! And just take them to school. And I've seen that. But like, yeah, I think that everybody, it's just like in every sport too. It's like you got to get burned a bunch. Like it's just part of it, man.
You have to
Like,
pay
and
your dues, I hear.
yeah, and the whole pay on your dues. It's like, yo, but I'm like, yeah, I definitely believe in the sense of like you have to take, what you think are losses, and you have to because like also it's a pressure test for your career. It's
Yeah.
like if a few things go wrong, and you're like, I give up. Like you were never meant for this.
I gotta show you this. This is funny.
You know. What's that helmet? Do you ride a motorbike too?
I did for quite a long time until I fell off it, and now I don't. But
What was
I,
it?
I have it to get another one. Um, dude, I don't even remember the brand anymore. It was some off-brand shit. But
Oh,
check
off
it
it.
out.
Damn. Oh shit. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's how much I love the game. More so
Holy shit,
Keanu.
dude. That's
Yeah,
crazy, man. That's
but
crazy.
but okay. So here's the real kicker. we're not going to shit on CDPR. That's the last thing we
No.
have to do. But how do you feel about the launch and all the bugs and the drama and the hacks and all this? Like, how does that make you feel? Because obviously you could have scaled even more so. All the artists you worked with could have benefited even more so.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but like that's not like I mean that's a tragedy for them.
Yeah.
Like fuck my stupid little fucking 27 songs.
Yeah.
These are people who've like I spent, you know, I think a year and a half on these joints. Like these
You're like,
guys
I met my deadline.
yeah, like these guys spent like imagine spending like a decade on
Yeah.
something and then having a bunch of fucking incels go and try to tear you down and then like random bullshit lawsuits and all these things go like you know like that is fucking sad,
So
bro, because
do you think this was greed related, or is it just like the virus couldn't have everybody working to the most efficient, you know, like there's a lot of things you couldn't do when you're shut down, you know?
well, I mean, I've also read about the um the amount of bugs for games that scale that are actually expected in the industry, for example. Like and there were games that people were mentioning, and even some of the GTA releases, which were so fucking riddled with bugs,
Yeah.
but nobody was losing their shit because there wasn't nearly as much attention around those
Too much
titles.
hype, dude. This was
And
like,
and that's the problem with having that much of, you know, attention on you. You're a mega celebrity, so even if you fucking sneeze, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my god, it's the worst thing in the world."
what, like 6 million pre-orders? I know I pre-ordered it.
Yeah. And I think they got an unfair shake personally. Like, regardless of me working on this game or not, I think that it was bullshit what happened. And like, you have all these fucking jackals that came out and they're like, oh, I'm gonna launch a class. Like, have you
And
noticed these people that are like, I'm
yeah.
gonna launch a class action? And you're looking at it and you're like, why is your firm even being, and like, I know
It's
about
like
music
they're
law.
taking refunds, bro. What more do you want?
Bro, I know about music law, and for example, one of the first things, if you got a badass music lawyer that wants to fucking take someone to school, the first thing they're doing is releasing a press release. Even if you have no legs to stand on, they're gonna cause a big fucking stir, right? And I was looking at those things that were happening in CD Projekt, like, oh, whatever Rosen firm of wherever the fuck, like, you know, in New York is suing them for this and this and that. And I'm like, they're talking more about the firm than what's even wrong. This firm fucking paid a bunch of fucking newspapers to talk about a bogus lawsuit that's probably not going to go anywhere, that just so that they could get in front of some fucking camera time.
I think it was more of the investors that might have been more
But like the
upset.
investors, it was like one person, I think, from like either way. It was like first it was like one dude, and then it was like, oh, but like it all just seemed really weirdly loose to me. I couldn't find any concrete, like when I was like just kind of reading online, I'm like, it was like what, like everything was so vague that all of it just seemed to me like a giant hype train of people that just wanted to tear down something great.
And to be fair, I did put in like, dude, definitely over 100 hours into this thing because dude, I loved it so much. I got to the end and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do the last mission. I'm going to do every side thing I can
Oh, really?
do. That's
Yeah.
also when I realized, I got ADD or something because this is ridiculous. Like, metaphor for like, I do all the side quests in life and don't do the main goal sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so even after all the experience and like giving it a fair shake of everything on the new consoles, the brand
Oh
new
shit,
consoles,
known boy. Yeah.
no issues, bro. Like, I mean, there's very minor bugs, and I had to Google it, and I could get around it and figure it out. Maybe there was one bug that was really like, I can't fix this. This is ridiculous.
I mean, after the hot fix, it was
I think the crappy part might have been like the lower consoles that like are completely unplayable.
And that's the worst part.
Yeah.
You got motherfuckers shopping at Walmart thinking that they should get Whole Foods shit. You know, it's like, dude, like you're fucking trying to run an epic game on your fucking PS fucking one. Like, fuck off. You fucking deserve, dude, for real though. It's like, go back to Walmart, man. Just go buy Mario Kart and shut the fuck up. Don't play this game. You know, like it's crazy to me. And
that's
it was
a good
just
quote. That's a good
like,
quote.
shit, I should do their PR.
For real. You defend them. Come on.
But like it's real though, dude. Like I just, you know, the audacity of like just the general public because of like Twitter fingers nowadays is just too much for me. I'm too old for that shit, so I just can't even. By the way, though, yo, in here you got Known Boy who just joined in, who is like, dude, this guy's music is fucking ridiculous. It goes so crazy. You gotta peep. You gotta mash on those fucking random people that pop up in here because that dude is on one, man. He's so talented. Anyways, yeah.
But
So like,
kind of talking about managing expectations, right?
yeah. So that's the thing is that people just are too like, and I think it goes past that to like this weird entitlement thing. It's like, well, I have a garbage console that that is like 20 years old, and I expect this thing to run perfectly on it, even though I knew that there was going to be bugs. Like I, I don't know if I'm just fucked up or like what, but I would never buy some really fucking futuristic product and try to run it on a lower grade machine and
Yeah,
expect it to not fuck up. Like I produce music. Every time a plugin comes out that's insane, that I'm like, oh fuck, I want to like
yeah,
up my shit. I'm already mentally preparing myself for a fucking new laptop.
yeah. I feel you.
And because I want to keep up, and I can fucking run it on my old shit maybe, but it's gonna be ass, right? So it's like, yeah, what do you expect from these fucking, when you're playing Cyberpunk on a PS3 or even a fucking PS4? Like, dude, no,
Yeah.
man.
My only real gripe was like, man, every time you update it, there's so much memory is gonna take up.
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I honestly, I don't even have fucking time, man. Like, if I showed you my horrible console, I got a, I got a fucking a VCR with the top ripped off for like, because I do lo-fi shit, so I actually run my shit through VHS tape, and
Wow,
I record it back on my computer. So I
literal
got
lo-fi.
like, bro, hold on, let me show you this. Yeah, like literally, this is, and you're gonna howl at my consoles in here. I don't know if I can switch the camera.
Yeah.
So I got a VCR in here. I got a bunch of PS2 games. I got a PS2 and then a PS3, I think that is. And like, I found the PS2 on the side of the street, just
Wow.
sitting there. I'm like, oh, a PS2. And I've just been playing SSX on it. And like, I'm not going to try to fucking put other video games in there. I'm sticking to the era that they were produced in for that console. And that's it. Um, but yeah, it's just all that shit to me is ridiculous, man. People got to chill the fuck out.
Yeah, talking a little more about like managing expectations and stuff. I mean, were you working on this game the whole time knowing this is going to be the biggest thing? And was there also a chance that it might not pan out for you? Like, could you have ever lost the placement? Is that a thing?
Always a thing.
Wow.
So until the thing goes out, like there were songs that were picked that didn't make it for like one reason or the next. Like even that we're like already like, yeah, they're there, but then we just had to pull them for like a myriad of reasons.
Wow.
Or yeah, so like I've had this happen a lot in like multimedia. Things change rapidly all the time, and until the thing is out, you don't know.
Wow.
And that's why also I like working with my team, my rappers and my singers, because like they know that I've worked on so many projects with them, and they know that. So what they usually do is I tell them almost nothing at all. I keep them in the fucking dark. I'm like, forget about these songs, forget about the thing we did.
That's
Let's just
good.
keep making
Then they're
more.
not hounding you and they're like, hey, what happened
And
to
then
this
when
guy?
the exactly, and then when the thing happens, it's a fucking sweet surprise. Like and like of course we have our own way of like working, and we sign off on things and whatever, but like realistically it's like, yeah, I don't know, and I don't know, I can't even tell them anything if I tried, because I'm like, well, I'm pretty much in the dark too. I sent the songs out, we got some iterations, this was a go, but maybe it won't make it. You don't know.
Let's see what kind of equipment you're working with and like what you're a fan of in terms of brands and stuff.
Well, oddly enough, this is like my little spot here, my pandemic hole. I have a studio that I have access to in here, but I like to work out of my house. So I have my Barefoots, which are the speakers that everyone should get. Those are the Footprint O1s. And I have my laptop. Dude, I'm like almost all in the box, bro, and a little MIDI controller. But I love software. I never produced. I think for like a year I produced on a tower, but a stationary. But I was on a laptop since like 2000 and like fucking 6 or 5.
Damn.
Yeah, dude, I was running Pro Tools on a laptop on the first MacBook.
Wow.
PowerBook it was called,
Wow.
and
Yeah,
everyone thought I was crazy then.
I've barely been learning the importance of externals, to be honest. Needed for everything.
Really,
Yeah, needed
dude.
for fucking everything.
Yeah,
God
yeah.
damn it.
What do you use to track and stuff? What do you?
Shit. Well, I just got some new Spectres coming in. Well, I don't know. I remember the brand. Uh, Spectronics, I guess would be. I think that's what they're called.
Spectrasonic.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm just saying
That
it.
well, that's a plug-in brand. Spectrasonics
Oh no
makes
no no no
like
no no no. That's isn't that like Omnisphere?
Omnisphere. Yeah,
Nah, nah. These are Spectries. I just forgot the
stylus.
brand. I can type it in.
Mm.
But and then I'm man. So basically, I don't take any of my equipment serious because I just like usually pay for studio time. And I was telling you about Josh, Starboy, Grammy,
Mm-hmm.
and I just
Mm-hmm.
kind of I trust the engineer more so than myself at this point. So I just use my shit
Yeah.
for demos. But yeah, I mean at the crib like just the typical SM7B. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Nice.
And then I just bought the Rodecaster because I caved. I remember I was asking you for advice, but I'm like, dude, it'll do everything. You know, I already had one. I just didn't like that it wasn't super user friendly and all the built-in plugins aren't that great. But whatever, it does what I need, and everything costs the same price and only does one thing. You know, this was like
Yeah.
very multifunctional. So I
Yeah.
bought the Rodecaster. I got in Akai. Is that how you say it? The keyboard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I got like three monitors in front of me right here, and yeah, it's pretty much it. It's nothing crazy. I got like two MacBooks. I have one purposely downgraded on the lower operating systems because, dude, man, Big Sur has screwed everything up. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I hate Big Sur.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I didn't go to it. I
Oh,
stayed.
you're very lucky. Don't do it.
Dude. Yeah. Like I'm fucking staying on Catalina until they're pulling me out, kicking and screaming.
Oh crap!
Fuck.
I think I'm on High Sierra, so I think
Oh
you're
yeah.
you're lower than me.
Yeah.
Oh my
No, High
god.
Sierra. I don't know. No, Catalina's the newer one. I think it
Oh,
was
okay.
Sierra, then High Sierra, then Catalina.
Okay. Well,
I
I'm glad
think.
that I'm
I
lower
don't
than
know.
that.
Yeah, but I don't want to be. Yeah, I usually don't fucking upgrade
What
to
year
nothing.
is your Mac?
It's this year. I bought it.
You got
I have like three here.
the M1 chip yet?
No, I'm gonna
I
wait.
wouldn't be.
Oh man, it just sounds like problems. Nothing's compatible yet. I'm gonna wait
Yeah.
like a year. I mean, the
Yeah.
chip is amazing, but I'm just gonna wait.
So
Um,
when I was talking to Josh yesterday, he was like, "Dude, I haven't been making beats at all because the M1 doesn't let me do anything, literally." So yeah, I wouldn't do it at all. Fuck
oh
it.
my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm like, I don't know how many more years I have left in the music industry. Maybe I can just pull it with this thing until I retire. Then I'll be like one of the, like same as those motherfuckers that are like, still sitting on like the MPC, like ASR 10. Like,
Oh my god, dude.
yeah,
But
no, but
yeah, I mean, even now, like I feel like I'm straying away from making music, and I'm kind of focusing more on the podcast and helping other people elevate themselves. Because, dude, it's such a process. Like getting paid and learning about royalties and your publishing and the label, all this shit. Nobody understands it. I could definitely make a business just out of educating people because nobody wants to do it, bro. I don't even want to register my own shit because it's so elaborate.
dude, tell me about it. Same.
I hate it. I fucking hate it. But
Oh, thanks, homie. Thanks, Goody with the
100
hoodie.
years left.
Oh, he's supporting me.
That's
I got 100
generational.
years. That's right. That's right.
But yo, talk a little bit about like your upbringing in terms of like you were talking about like Svet. Are you like Russian?
No, I'm Polish.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
kind of
but
an area over there.
we're all a different fucking drunk cousin to each other.
Oh,
You get a Russian and a Polak drinking together, we understand everything we say. We might
wow.
go to war at the end of the night, but like we'll understand what we're talking about. That's like the best way if you're in the Eastern Slavic bloc, bro. You just get drunk with each other and you know exactly what everyone's
But
saying.
were you born over there?
Yeah, I was born and raised there. I was born and raised in Poland.
How different is that? Like what? How old were you when
When
you came?
I was coming up, I was 82, right? I'm old as fuck. So it was way, dude, I was born during the commune, man.
Whoa,
Yeah, like food stamps and shit.
damn.
Yeah. So I came and I lived in a tiny little village in Eastern Europe. So I went from that to like Canada and then from Canada to the States. And it was just so crazy because it's like, I was a kid growing up looking at palm trees on TV, like being like, I will never be able to see one of those types of trees, And then one day I'm driving in LA in a fucking Dodge Challenger and I'm calling my dad, and I'm like, "Oh my god, Dad, I'm in a muscle car, and I'm in Los Angeles. I'm looking at the palm trees I grew up looking at. Like, what the fuck is life even right now?" It was
Right.
just the most iconic moment for me. I'm like, I did it.
What
Like
year? What
it
year was
was
that?
when I first went to LA.
Yeah.
That was 2011, 2011, or yeah, that was 2011. Yeah, and I was there with my band. I went there with my band.
Yo,
Um,
all right, let's jump into that. Let's talk about Illmind a little bit because might as well be world renowned. Worked with everybody. Probably one of the biggest top five producers of our generation. Let's be real.
I would say so.
But
One of
how did you meet him? What was that like? What happened to the band? What's that deal? Like,
Oh man, so I was working with a rapper, this guy Sear in New York, who hit him up like outside of a club. Like Illmind had his Blap nights back in the day in like I think it was the Lower East Side or something like that, and he did that thing where he like fucking takes his headphones out. He's like, "Yo, listen to my song," to Illmind, and Illmind usually never does that, but he's like, "Whatever, fine." And he like listened, and he was playing him this beat, the track that I made with him, and Illmind's like, "Oh shit, this is tight." He's like, "This is you?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, come through and record, right?" And so he came through, started recording, and then started playing him my shit. And he's like, "Who's this fucking guy?" And he's like, "Oh, it's my producer from like Canada, and he's out here all the time." So then we started working on music together, and we decided to start a pop band. And then it was like a pop hip hop crossover band. And then next thing you know, like we came out, me and Omar came out with an album together before we ever even met face to face. And then
oh, damn.
yeah, we did our first EP, and then we met face to face where like after releasing that. It was crazy.
How did that pan out though? I mean, is there like a singer? Is it because it sounds like it's two
Yeah, it was
producers
me.
just
It
playing
was me.
instruments?
Yeah, it was me and Illmind were doing the production, and then Father Dude was singing. Father Dude is like a crazy singer. You can look him up. I still work with him a lot. And then Sear was rapping, and that we did that for like 6 years, I think,
I mean,
something like that.
are those records still out? Does that band still exist?
Yeah, yeah, it's just floating around in the ether on the on the webosphere. It's called Smoky Robotic. If you ever want to YouTube a bunch of Smoky, like we let a lot of shit just disappear because we weren't renewing our TuneCore or whatever the fuck. But there's still quite a lot of shit that you can find. We did so many videos. We did a ton of videos and like all sorts of stuff. So it was like really awesome. That was, I think, my favorite years of my life was working during that time. Like just adventures, man, crazy tours, weird shit. It was just so fun.
Speaking
Tons
of
of
that,
music.
screw TuneCore, by the way. Just want to throw that out. I hate
Yeah.
remixes.
Yeah, I don't do none of that no more.
But yo, that's another interesting topic. Is that a lot of times I feel like those are my like happiest days too. When everything wasn't so money oriented and you're just kind of making shit for fun. Do you relate to
Yeah.
that?
Oh, of course, man. That's why I still make a ton of shit for fun.
Yeah.
Like I still, I have my side project, my lo-fi project, and that's like my way to get my wiggles out, man. I just do something because I just love it and it's just
And I
fun
also
for me.
find myself wishing I would have made more music in that time period. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like you don't
It's
even
never
know
too
when
late.
you're in that grace period. You don't even know when you're in it.
But isn't that like the whole mantra to life too? It's kind of like, yo, enjoy it while it's happening to you because one day it won't,
It's a good
right?
point. Yeah, and
Like, dude, one day you're just gonna be lights out. You're gonna be like, shit, it's almost lights out. I wish I did more of that thing. Like, fuck. So that's why I just do the most.
yeah, and it's weird because I always hated like not getting enough sleep, and now like I don't fucking sleep, and I'm like, why didn't I do that then?
Yeah. See, I did the not enough sleep for like 20 years, dude.
Oh shit.
And I swear, yeah. And it's funny. I posted a photo not long ago of me when I was like 21. I looked really, really high. And I'm like, I don't do drugs. I literally was just that tired. I was going to school full time, working full time, and I was doing music.
But were you just
So
motivated, or what? Was this like the European upbringing that you're like, yo, I'll never
I
get a
think,
fucking chance again type of shit?
I think so. I had like without going into it too deep, but I had like a finite amount of time in my life put on me when I was a kid because I was really sick. And that being said, it put this like fire under me to get as much shit done because I literally thought I was gonna die really, really young.
Eh.
So so like I just started like being like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go balls to the wall with everything I do. And like last year I put out 270 songs. Like, yeah, put out.
That's
Like
that's like almost every day.
I know. I know. I didn't even realize it until I was like doing paperwork and I'm like doing my paperwork for the year. At the end of the year, I'm like, wait, hold on, what the fuck? And I had to like recount like 3 times.
It's almost like you took a month just to master every song or something.
This is just, it was crazy, man. It was weird, man. It was like, it's just you when you're just going. And I think that, you know, like what people think hard work is usually not because you will like, when you start working harder and you keep pushing yourself harder and harder and harder, your baseline changes. So now I'm like, if I'm working 12 hours a day, that's like an easy day for me, and that's how it should be. This is art, man. This is a labor of
You
love.
having
This is
fun, right?
art. Well, yeah, and that's why I can do it so long. But it's also like I don't expect to not suffer for the thing that I love.
It's a good
You
point.
have to, man. You have to. Like every athlete, everyone we look up to, everyone we idolize, you know what we read? We read their stories of struggle. We don't read when they're on, like, about when they're on their boat.
Yeah.
We read about the stories of how fucking hard it was and how hard it still is, because that is the truth, right? And that's the truth
That's
to
interesting because
success.
what you're kind of saying is even if it's easy and you're having fun, you still got to put yourself in those. You still have to find a way to push yourself into that phase of
Yeah.
struggle, right?
And
Which,
that's, yeah,
which to be fair, this is why a lot of artists fall off after they're successful because what are they struggling with? Like
yeah,
in my
yeah.
opinion, anyway. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think that, the driving force for creation, like in creativity itself, the driving force for it is a certain amount of discomfort and struggle. And when you finally quote unquote make it, you lose your
Damn,
purpose,
shit. I mean, it's
you
it's
know?
nice to be reaffirmed and hear that because it's like
Yeah.
it's what I believe and I feel like I know.
Bro, when I start getting comfortable, I get mad uncomfortable.
Oh shit.
You know?
You're like, I need to
Like
go broke again. Let me spend all my money real quick.
I know people that literally burn down their lives just for this. They do. Like it's like a life hack. Like, oh, shit's too good. I'm gonna fucking get addicted to ketamine, lose everything, and then fucking restart. But
Of
like,
all drugs.
I know, right? The one that slows you down the most. Like, can you get addicted to like speed and then you'll
Something
do more
productive?
songs?
Anything productive?
Yeah, yeah. No, but
Damn.
like for real though, like, I think that people have to embrace the fact that shit is hard, gets hard, and should be hard, and that's okay. And like when they do that, then they can, they're on the path to success. But if you're searching for comfort, you'll never really become what you want to become.
So this is kind of why I was saying like a good life hack for inspiration for me is perspective. Like you go somewhere, you travel somewhere, you go see how somebody else is living, might not be as fortunate as you. Like that's like my like low key hack to man, I'm appreciative of where I'm at type of thing. Like you don't have to make yourself suffer, but you can see how other people are living or just get out, bro. You can't be in the same spot all the time and expect inspiration to strike you when you're there all the time. Like,
Yo, I got a fucking recipe for world peace.
oh
I have
shit.
this recipe for world peace, bro. Imagine this, okay? Just ride with me on this. Let's not worry about the logistics. But if I really do believe that if every country in the world made a rule that instead of at the age of 18 for conscription countries, they send their young men and women to a different country for 2 years to live on an exchange, we wouldn't have no fucking wars.
Wow.
Instead of conscripting soldiers, and making soldiers, you ship out your young people to experience a different polar opposite culture in a polar opposite place in the world.
What you're
And you
saying is
make,
we got to make people appreciate life.
yo, dead ass. Like you will see how other people, and what'll happen too. What's funny is that I don't even think it's as much about seeing struggle that makes you appreciate what you have. Like I
You
think
guys
it's
maybe
more,
acknowledge we're all the same in a sense.
yeah, it's about normalizing. Like I was watching a Discovery Channel show about these like dudes in like this ancient tribe, right? And they were hunting for honey. And this dude is like, speaking in like ancient tribe language. I don't fucking know what language it was. And they got the subtitles on there. And the funniest part ever was that he was stressed out that if he doesn't get the honey, his wife is going to give him shit.
Oh,
And
universal as
I'm like, it's
hell.
just the same everywhere, man.
Yeah,
No matter where you go, no matter how you look, no matter what you fucking do.
yeah.
Like at the end of the day, our story is not unique. And
And
that
at
is
the
a
end of the day,
beautiful thing.
at the
It's a
end of the
beautiful
day,
thing.
women are gonna complain. What you're trying to say?
No, at the end of the day, you're going to have to work hard to
I'm
keep love in your life.
All right, that's a better way to put it.
You know, like at the end of the day, it's always gonna take work, and you will complain to your friend while you're putting your hand in a vat of fucking stinger bees just to put a smile on the face of a woman you love.
We do not condone
Doesn't matter
misogyny.
where you're
Let's
at.
make it clear, we're not condoning misogyny here.
I don't know anything about massaging anything, so
Oh my god.
no.
Yo,
But like for real, I was like, yo, just like the entire world, the commonalities that are amongst us all
right.
around the
You want to
world
talk
is
about
important.
commonalities? The first 2 minutes we talked, we got like super into religion and got meta about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
Oh shit,
commonality.
Azel. What's up, Azel? Jan, astronomers, crazy.
Hey,
I got yeah, my homeboys are pulling up. Yo, Azel produces this he produces like a well, first of all, he just produces all sorts of dope music, but he has a band. They're called Manila Gray and they do really, really dope like hip hop, R&B, pop, and you name it.
nice.
That's another dude from Vancouver that's ill. You should peep him.
Word.
So yeah, like yeah, exactly. Like it's funny because yeah, we literally I think we spiraled into religion in our first talk, which is like on brand for me because I end up I'm like thank God I'm not like
But
very
what a
known
fucking
because
icebreaker though. Like, hey, you want to know if you and this person can get along? Let's just hammer it down real quick.
let's bitch about religion.
Yeah, what's your belief system and get it out of our system.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, we tend to not like the same shit. Right on. Yeah.
What you
Hmm.
got any advice for producers? Because I know I got a lot of producer friends that are like, how do I get my first placement? How do I even pitch and get into that realm of maybe
Yeah,
even
yeah.
artists in general, and
Work
and
more.
advice on not getting discouraged. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just go harder. No, but like really though, just like work more,
Just
motherfuckers.
don't
Like
bitch.
fuck.
That's it. Just
Yeah,
don't
like
bitch.
so
Don't have
how about shut up and do the work?
oh god.
Like there's that. Like if you
Oh
just
no.
put down like yo, but for real, the reason I'm not really on Clubhouse a lot
Oh
is because you
crap.
got people on there that want to talk, right? But you get on there, and the advice is just a bunch of people that are like basically selling you snake oil and bigging each other up. Oh shit, astronomers just got their fucking first placement. Right on, congrats. That's dope. That's another yeah. So like you got people on this app that are like talking about like this is how you get into the industry. This is how you do. And I'm like, yo, there's only one fucking way. You just have to be prolific. You have to work really fucking hard. Like Tupac didn't make 100 songs. He made thousands of songs.
Yeah.
Like one pitch won't usually do it for you. You're playing the lottery. You'll probably have to pitch 100 to, if not more times before you see anything. I'm like, the only thing that I can give that's like practical advice, which is hilarious because it'll make me sound like an old person, but it works. Is build a website, motherfucker.
That's true.
Because right now I really feel like social media fragmented everything right into like pieces, consumable pieces, and now it's like if I'm trying to sell a product, I need someone to be able to consume my product in an easy to navigate area. I need
Consolidate.
my little resume. Yeah, like my website I put together every time I got a new project, I update it and it looks kick ass, and like it fucking works, man. I can send corporate people over there. I can send artists over there and be like, hey, if you want to take a quick look at what I do, here's a list of things I've done. Go
Yeah.
there and look at it.
That comment is a really good thing to jump into because the behind the scenes shit that you were doing, I'm like, yo, it's so like made at home, like nothing special quality, which speaks a lot to like, yo, just fucking do it and put it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. Like, I literally just wanted to show people like my point of those videos were there was two mechanisms in those videos. One was to make the artists visible because I knew that they were going to be in this shadow of a behemoth, and realistically it's like there's a whole
That's a good
lore
point because
inside the game.
I was just telling you I didn't know Taylor Young looked the way he did. That's
Yeah,
good
it
point,
it
dude.
was my way of trying to humanize my friends and put them like it was a lot of fucking work to put all those videos together, man. Holy Christ, right? It was
Did you do it?
fucking
Did
more
you
work
edit
than
it and shit?
I had, dude. It was me and a bunch of people.
Okay, word.
Yeah, and it was, but either way, it was just so much fucking doing that and planning and blah blah blah. So like, that being said, like with, what is this? I'm getting weird updates. That being said, like, I made those videos and I put them out, and I think that it provides the artists some exposure, which is nice. It shows our character. It lets people understand the personality of people behind the music. And I thought it would be really cool for the gamers to be like, wow, I can actually look like at how this song came to be, that's incredible. Like I would have loved to be able to look at my favorite albums and games and see those sessions, right? So I wanted to do that, so I did that. But the second thing too is um like with these with all these behind the scenes things, when you're a person that's like, I want to do this, I want to get into games, I want to get into movies, I want to get like, you don't even really know
It's true.
like where to start. And this just shows you that it's very possible to be just some dude in a basement here or in a studio. Like sometimes I was in crazy, like nice little studios. Sometimes I was in a fucking bedroom with my earpods on. Like, and I'm making music that's making it onto the biggest titles in the world, because what it takes is flexibility and good product, and good product can be made anywhere.
Damn.
You don't need to be renting out Dr. Dre's fucking studio to sell a song to a fucking AAA title. You just need to make a great song.
I can vouch for that, because the record that I got on MTV, I recorded it in front of my microwave. Nothing special. I didn't have any padding or anything, with a USB microphone.
See?
Yeah.
See? Yeah, dude. Yeah, like
it's just like the passion, and you know what I mean? Like the flame that was within me to like deliver how I did on the record was just like, that's all that mattered. You don't need anything crazy.
yeah, dude. Okay, so astronomers, yeah, man, for sure. You know, you can send some shit over to me anytime. Hit me up on DMs. But yeah, totally. Like I've had, okay, so get this. I'll tell you a funny ass story. Back in the day, I was sitting at a cafe in Vancouver. This is one of my very first commercial placements. I was sitting in a cafe with Sear, the rapper. This was at the time when we just started our band, the Smoky Robotic Band with Illmind. And he came out to Vancouver to fucking chill with me. And we're sitting there and I'm on my laptop and I'm testing out. I was, at that time, I wasn't on Ableton. I was on like Logic Pro. And I was testing out the two little keys. And I was like, oh shit, I've never been able to like make beats on a keyboard on the actual laptop, because that wasn't a thing yet. And they finally released the little keyboard option. So I'm sitting there and I got one headphone in and he's got the other headphone in. And I'm going like ding, 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 ding. And I'm just playing this stupid thing, right? And he starts singing. He's like, this is that super futuristic music. And he's like being funny, right? And I'm like, shit, real quick, like, let's track that. So I quickly pound this out. We run off to my house. We record that little idea. It was literally just a few keys. I was playing at a cafe. Next thing you know, it becomes the fucking campaign song for Movado watches.
Wow.
From Movado Bold, which was like a cafe joke between me and him. Like most of that song was just made at that cafe right there. Like some of the ad libs were still from like him recording through the headphone wire. Like it was crazy, bro.
So, okay, equipment does not matter. Inspiration strikes anywhere, right? Like,
yep,
clearly.
Dude, quality is subjective. This is art.
Which is another thing I was gonna ask: is do you trust your own ear for mastering?
Yeah.
You master everything. You do it yourself.
I mix and master everything myself.
That's amazing. That a company can trust you with that kind of. I wouldn't know.
They have no choice. I'm just like, yo, I'm doing it myself. Because you know what keeps happening? They keep getting other people to fucking try to master my shit. It doesn't bang like the way that I did it.
Okay.
Like, and there is
how you want it to sound is what you're
exactly.
Saying. Damn.
You know, most producers don't like to master their own shit because they just can't be fucked to do it.
Damn.
But like usually when you listen to how a producer mixes down their shit, there's usually a bit of magic in there that you're like, oh damn, like, you know, I think that everyone has a sonic identity in the engineering process too. It's just that it's just another piece, but I don't mind the other piece. I do all my own artwork, all my own everything, because, you know, I think that you can do it yourself, but also I move faster than people that I'm usually hiring. They're slow, bro. I fucking hate it, man.
And if you're paying for time, it's even more annoying, right?
Yeah, it's just like, man, I don't know. Like, I'm sure that one day I'll have like some dude that's just like knows exactly what my sound is all day, and whatever, and like, but like I just don't need them. I'm good at mixing, you know, so I just don't like. What I will do is I give, like, when I ship off my files like to companies, I give stems. If they want to fucking mix it down themselves, you know, they can do that. But I also do, you know, I do my own masters with like a -10 or a -5 dB pull down on the ceiling on everything, so they got some headroom. to really just polish it up to where it needs to
I
sit, but they can't fuck my mix up.
I have noticed oftentimes publishers want the stems because they might have in-house people that are already like they have a certain way they do it. You know what I mean? Like a certain
Yeah,
level that they master and mix to. I've
and
noticed.
it and totally, and that because they have to hit like the right lufts, they have to hit the right broadcast,
Yep.
and they usually what they'll do is they'll master for different broadcasts. So they'll have like if they're really diligent, they'll master for Apple, they'll master for Spotify,
Damn.
they'll deliver different
Also,
versions.
also, the small boutiques I started out with are the ones doing major shit now. So it can take some time to become a household publisher as well. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
if you
totally.
stick by them, you can still get put on by somebody that's unknown. Like
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
That's why I was telling you about the March Madness placement last year that fell through. Like right as Corona hit in March, we're not doing it anymore. I'm like, bro, that was like make or break it for me at that moment. I was
Oh,
so pissed.
well,
Anyways,
next year.
for sure. Well, this year, hopefully, we'll see what happens. It's back.
Yeah, yeah,
But what kind of
yeah.
DAW are
America.
you using anyway? Like, what are you recording? What are you mastering and stuff? Different,
Uh,
different for producing. You know,
Ableton,
really everything.
everything.
Interesting.
I used to do like mixing and vocals in Pro Tools,
Yeah,
and then I
that's
was
what I've
like,
heard. That's what I've always heard.
but you know, all it is for anyone on Ableton, and that's like having that debate.
They just like paying the fee for Pro Tools. Let's be
Nah, just turn your shit down because it's just different fucking like if you just go into Ableton and if you just pull all your tracks down to
Yep.
like 50% of the regular volume and start from there, you're gonna have way more than enough headroom and you will get just as clean, just as banging mixes as you do in Pro Tools.
Is that what you learned on, or is it just a preference? Like, have you worked
No,
with any?
I learned on I learned on PlayStation MTV Music Maker.
What the fuck is that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was a thing. It was a
Yo,
game
your
where you
age
could
is
make little
showing, bro.
beats. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's not just in my beard.
Oh
Um,
god.
so yeah, dude, no, it was that, and then it was the original Fruity Loops, the very first Fruity Loops.
Oh yeah.
But I couldn't afford the full license. So me and my friends, we used to draw out the beat on paper and then just
Whoa.
rebuild it.
Yo, that's sick as
Because
hell.
Fruity Loops is just like a MIDI thing that like you couldn't even load anything into. It just had canned sounds in it. It was crazy, you
Bro,
know? So
even
that's
even for DJ boards, it's pretty crazy how the software becomes updated to where everything that's on the screen is on the board now, you know? It's the same thing for the
yeah.
MIDI keyboards.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible, I'm not gonna lie.
Of course. I mean, I love technology. I'm like, fuck yeah, technology.
Another
Please
thing
democratize me more. You know?
another thing I was gonna say was even if you're like even as a songwriter myself, right? I might not be a producer, but it helps so much to know the terms of what the producer is using, what kind of effects, what to describe, just to like if you're that meticulous, you can't just be like, there's this sound and it's right. Nah, bro, like if you know what the effect is, what it's called, what to turn down, it helps you
Dude,
immensely. You save so much time.
I know I can't think of a single successful vocalist that I know that doesn't know how to fucking do a really damn good job of tracking their own vocals
Damn.
and engineering them. Like, dude, I was in the studio with Nipsey Hussle a bunch back in the day when, when I first moved to LA. And we used to race on Pro Tools, doing fades on Pro Tools, vocal fades, because
Whoa.
he would cut his own shit and engineer his own shit. And
Wow.
he was like, yo, this is, I'm like, wow, you actually know how to do this. This is before he blew the fuck up. This is at the beginning of the marathon, right? And
Talking
and
like
he's
2013, I'm guessing.
yeah, yeah. It was like 2013, 20 maybe yeah, 2013, latest 2014. It was around then. He just he just came home. And so, he had this little studio in Echo Park, and I was always kind of like rolling through. He was always just letting me use his B room. And he was like, yeah, like, he's like, this is my tool. I'm a vocalist. Like, I know how to write a song. It's like, yeah, you can know how to build a house, but you got to also be able to swing the hammer.
Wow.
Like, and it's the same with this shit. It's like, yo, you're a vocalist. Take yourself seriously. Get on fucking YouTube. There's a million fucking resources out there. Learn how to cut your own little garbage vocals. Do it yourself. Do it
Hey,
yourself. Like,
did y'all stay in touch? And what was it like
yeah,
when you found out he passed and everything? What was that like?
it's horrible.
I
Bro,
mean,
this shit, this is just the most fucked up night. And like, it just sucks, man.
Yeah.
I still just get emotional thinking about it. I don't even want to fucking think about it. Like as soon as I
I mean,
start thinking
bro,
about it, I just get,
you witnessed the whole thing, like the whole come up.
yeah,
You got to
man.
be a part of it. You know what I mean?
It was fucking sad, dude. It's so sad. No, the whole shit is just so fucked up. So yeah, man. You know, it's crazy. Like like even now, like I have another friend of mine, one of my longest time friends, who I lost to similar shit,
Yeah.
and I found an old record of ours. Like I found an old acapella, and I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna try." So I actually reskinned it, and I'm gonna try to get it synced because I just know that he would lose his fucking mind
That's cool.
if he would just lose it. So I'm like working on this record, and I really like I know that one day it'll make it to something. It'll get like put on a show or on a
Yeah.
commercial or something, and like
That's a cool way to put
I'll
a
feel
spin on
very
it.
accomplished. Yeah, because I know he'll lose his mind. Like he'll just be up there like, we did it, we got on TV. Like it's just it's just so sad, man.
Yo, I actually made a video on YouTube a few weeks ago because Big Sean dropped that Deep Reverence video, and I was like so inspired from Nipsey's verse, and it's even though it's an old record, this had me realizing this is the problem with Nipsey Hussle features, is that how are you gonna outdo somebody like that? Like it's so hard to body someone that just says so few words and can make dude. He barely says a sentence, and he just made his whole statement in like one line. He doesn't
Dude,
not super wordy. It's like a Rick Ross kind of flow. You know what I mean?
he's meat and potatoes, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just that like I'm
Like
like, yeah,
how many
meat and
rappers
potatoes.
don't have to change their flow? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
To
I
stay
know.
relevant in the record. And I'm
Yeah,
like, dude, he's just chilling.
because
Like
he delivers with conviction, yo.
that's a
You
good
know,
point. Yeah.
yeah, he delivers a conviction. Yo, Uncle Ricky, I've told him to pull up. I want to say what's up.
Oh
That's
my.
my boy right here, dude. He's the craziest producer. He's like out in Vancouver out here too.
Damn.
He's a Aussie. He moved to Canada, started making beats, and then he stayed. But yeah, we're working on a bunch of shit all the time. He's crazy good.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I was having him join. Oh yeah, I'm trying to remember why I asked him to join. I think not just because I wanted him to see my pretty face, but like I think it was something to do with us bitching about. Uh, okay, so there's two things: the lawyer talk about just having your lawyer handle shit,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then the other one was he is the opposite of me, where he likes to have other people's ears on his mixes. He makes crazy, but like when I hear his mixes, I'm like, yo, your mixes are tight, bro. Like
Yeah, yeah.
use your own mixes, man. But he likes having an engineer to like listen to his shit and like master. So I might be totally wrong for not having people really hopping on my shit and like giving it their own spin. But for me, it's more of not a question of, hey, I can do it better. It's a question of I can move faster.
This also goes back to what we were saying about credentials, right? Like that's why I prefer some dude that's won a Grammy to like, yo, I trust you. You've had
Yeah.
experience, you
Oh,
know?
100% you can do that. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
just that
but
you can't do that when you're putting out 250 or more records a year.
yeah, it's gonna get
You just
costly.
won't, right? Like, I mean, at that point, yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
right? So, and you could, like,
yeah,
I mean, it's very within the means, but like, even if you have the money, you're probably going to have a hard time keeping up on the timeline.
that's true.
So, for
Also,
me,
the other thing that annoys me is like every speaker's different. You can't just judge it off like one car speaker and be like it's the final mix. Like you really just have to make a decision and call it. And there's so many people that are like
yeah,
so
yeah.
so romantic with their record and they take so like I
I
know
like
how
that
it is.
romantic. I'm going to use that.
I'm
You
not
get
even a hater, bro.
romantic.
That's me. I know how
Yeah,
it is.
yeah, yeah,
Perfection. You're striving so hard for it, and
yep.
sometimes you don't know when to call it. And like, it's done. It's fucking done. Leave it alone. You can overdo it. It's a real thing.
Oh, big time. Oh, I mean, okay, so I have this thing and I've been preaching this forever and I think I'll preach it till I die, even when music making isn't a thing. Robots will be making music and I'll be like, when you're in your die. Like, like this will be a thing. But yo, when you're making your song, just try to exercise this. When you're making your shitty little song and you're excited about it, right? Because let's face it, all our songs are shitty little songs. They're like they are. All of our songs are trash
Oh man.
because art is subjective and we don't decide what's good.
Yeah.
The public does, right? So like I just bet on the fact that everything that we are stoked on is trash until someone else says it's not, right? So I'm like, okay, you're sitting there, you're making your trash little song, you're stoked, you think you're great, and you have that, that moment you hit where you're excited. You're like, fuck,
Yeah.
I love, and you feel it rising up, and you're like, wow, right? You get to that like, wow, and when you get to that moment,
leave it,
that climax, you save it, and you put a little, you fucking whatever it takes. You use your wow moment, call it whatever you want. You save it, fucking leave it alone, and then continue your stupid little ideas, right? And then finish your song, and then sleep on it, and then bounce both versions before listening to it, and then A and B that shit. And I would guarantee you that majority of the time, the wow moment, the song is better.
Damn.
You ruined it after that.
Are you one of those people who bangs their head on the keyboard and that's the name of the song, and now you can't find what record it was or some shit?
No, mine is dates. I just date everything.
That's good.
So it's just like JUL 16-7. But I love it because there was two things. Obviously, it's for like knowing when you made something and it's a good system. When you're making that many beats, I'm not going to be like,
you can just go back into a text and remember what date you sent. You know what I mean?
Well, exactly. So for me, it was all practical. I've never named my beats. I only name my beats when I have to send them out, like when I'm sending like 3 or 4 to like a rapper, and I want them to have a topic, because if I know that they can't really think of a topic themselves.
That's so smart, dude.
So that's when I name my shit. Otherwise, like, everyone knows me for like fucking his, like I should start screenshotting somewhere like, yo, your JUL-18-24-B iteration C beat is so fire. Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, it wasn't iteration A. All right, yeah, I know it does. Yeah.
Damn.
Like, dude, I should show you, like, even on my UFC folders. Actually, I'll fucking give you a little, like,
word.
I'm gonna give you a little insider, like, don't tell nobody. Hold on, I'm gonna find this shit. And you're gonna howl, dude.
Bro, I'm one of those people where I can hear a song and I can tell you what key it's in just from DJing so much that I can correlate the song with the color in Serato, and I know what key it is.
Oh, so you're an asshole.
Oh my god.
You motherfucker. Father Dude, yo, that's the guy I was talking about. That was in my band back in the day. That motherfucker's got the windpipe of Jesus.
Yeah, the singer of your band.
Right? Dude, just saying that.
Don't even know the name of. All right,
dude, Smokey Robotic, man. Smokey Robotic. All right, I'm gonna show you. Okay, so I'm gonna show you this UFC. Okay, so UFC, for example, when I was working on UFC, right? Like this, and this is like, okay, mix down like for each one, it's like UFC C3 theme 3 B C D make A, mix down A E, then stems, then 3, and like every one of these ends up being like, and some of them like it gets crazy. Like where I think on UFC 3 I had like, that was a brutal one, man. That was like, let me see here, and that's how it looks, man. That's just, you just got to be, like this got stupid, man. Like
my point of bringing up the whole correlating the keys though was, if you know what it sounds like, you can think of other songs and it helps you come up with it. You know what I mean? If you can think of a melody from that same exact key, you can automatically compare it, because I'm all like the harmonic dissonance and lyrical like writing happy with sad and sad with happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I mean, if you got the chops, that's great. Father Dude's one of those guys. He's like a real musician. I'm not. Like, he's a real musician.
I was gonna ask you that. Can you read music, or are you just on?
No, but I just have an ear, and I fuck around a lot. But like,
wow,
I can't read music, but I can hold a tune.
Damn.
So, yeah, I don't have any formal music training. I was just stubborn, in a basement. I'm actually originally a graffiti writing breakdancer guy.
Oh shit!
So that's like what my main disciplines used to be for a very long time. But then I got fat.
Oh god!
Yeah.
Breakdancing. I have like so many comments on that, but I'm gonna save all those.
Oh, dude, yeah, you don't want to see it now. I got the dad bod now. It'll be like just dad dancing. I can still do some shit. I could throw down at a wedding or two. Tear my shirt.
Damn.
Oh shit, Brandon's here too. Yeah, Father Dude actually has seen me. Doubling up on his comment here. Like, Father Dude's seen me, like, just do wild shit to just make some shit work. Like, because I don't know fucking keys and chords. I know when I hear it, so I just play around. And like, what's crazy is it's that possible for anyone. Like, I don't have any music background at all. You
What
know,
are I was gonna say, what are your like vibes like? Like when you're getting in your zone, do you have to have a specific drink? Are you out here like smoking? What's your thing to like set
no,
your
I don't do
pace?
any of that. I have a
Same,
coffee.
same.
I Yeah, exactly. Yeah, mine is right here. I've been trying to hydrate, but mine is right here. Yeah. Um, Now I've been drinking fizzy water because non-fizzy water like is for peasants. So I only drink I only drink bubbly water. But
I mean, not
but
even candles. Well, like what kind of shit sets your vibe though? You know what I mean?
uh, a goal. I
Ah,
start every day with a goal as to what I'm gonna make that day. That's what motivates me. I don't care about the room. The like I have like my place in LA is like pretty vibey. Like my place in LA, I got like the lights that change colors and the fucking blah blah blah. But I'm here at this like my temporary spot in Canada, and I'm still making it work. I don't need to be like I just need a goal.
you got any time management tips?
Um, yeah, in the sense of like time management is in like personal health, or time management is in like get how do you do more shit.
Man, I was expecting a smart ass answer that's going to both. I
All
thought you were just
right.
gonna be like, yeah, just fucking do it or
Yeah, just work harder.
something.
But pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Like no one has bootstraps anymore. What am I supposed to pull myself up by? So, but like really though, okay. So time management for me is there's two things. So obviously, like I used to have a bad habit of sitting at my console till I get the shakes, and I'm sure you know what that's like. So you get the shakes and you start shaking like where you like haven't eaten and you're like just kind of drinking coffee for too long, and then you're like really
Okay.
hungry
Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
and you get jittery.
yeah.
A lot of people that like do this
Headaches,
kind of shit.
couple
Yeah, yeah, I
headaches.
got one right now actually.
Shit.
But that's just because the weather's changing and I'm old. But yeah, like
Holy shit.
so no, but like time management wise, I'm like, okay, like honestly, have snacks on hand and shit and try to like get up every hour or so and just move around because it's gonna keep you more efficient. It just will. Like getting up, like oftentimes what I'll do is when I'm making a song, I'll just like open my door and I'll walk outside for no reason. I'll just walk and I'll walk around a little bit, or I just jump on my motorbike for like 5 minutes and I just break out and I come back and I feel refreshed. So that's a big one for staying. Like if you kind of keep mobile, it'll keep you it'll keep you way more creative because your blood's moving. You're moving that, you're moving your little trife oxygens into your head and all that kind of shit,
Yeah.
But also, um, I really think that a lot of people have to start employing like systems into their creative process, not just expecting like weed to do the job. Like you can't just expect weed and alcohol to do the fucking job.
It's a good point.
Like try like if you want to be a professional, like on a level where you can trust yourself, like really in a prolific sense. And this is obviously just me making wild statements, and like
I
I
don't think
don't
so.
know.
I don't think so.
I'm just some guy yelling at the internet. But like really, like I would say challenge yourself to start a day with like today I'm gonna like make let's say like whatever, let's say you do trap music all day. It's like, okay, well today I'm gonna make a trap song, but it's gonna be blah blah blah, and give yourself something that you're gonna have to like achieve. Not just I'm gonna sit down and just make songs into oblivion that don't mean anything, but they have to have a purpose. So I do songs by topics. I do songs by moods. Like today, I was making really ignorant strip club music because I'm working on a TV show about strip clubs in
Yeah.
Atlanta. So I've been like just going hard on like twerk music, and it's super fun. And then
You
tomorrow is
didn't hire a
R&B day.
stripper or anything?
What's that?
You didn't hire a stripper to dance
I
like
actually, me and Uncle Ricky, the guy that was in here, we actually used to we kicked off a strip club in Canada back in the day. So we had Thursdays and Saturdays. Our nights were the most popular, and we ran those nights, and we were the DJs and we were the
yeah.
MCs, and it was the
I,
funnest time
I've
ever.
done the same shit. I did the same shit.
Our This club was dope. They had a Function One system, bro, a Function One sound system.
I don't even know what that is.
Function One sound system is going to be the best sounding. All the festivals are done by like Function One,
Ah,
pretty much.
ah.
So there's only two clubs in Vancouver that have that.
Everything's vibrating.
Dude, no, dude, one of our shows, We shook a sound panel off the ceiling. It fell 30 feet,
Oh, shit.
bounced off of my desk, and it hit, dude. Yeah, Jan knows about the strip. It bounced off of the desk and it hit a producer from this group called Fuck Yeah back in the day in the head, and it cut his head open. And we're like, oh shit, a patron's hurt, but he liked our music, so he didn't sue.
Damn. Damn.
Yeah, dude.
I
Yeah.
thought I thought you were talking about Fuck Yeah from Russia. It's not them, right?
No, it's like FKYA from Vancouver.
Okay.
I think they were called Fuck Yeah back then. Yeah, but it was
But,
Steve.
but referencing back on the time management thing, definitely true about the food because what I started doing was like I'll pre-make like tons of sandwiches in advance just in case I have on the off chance I don't want to cook. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a badass cook, but I'll just throw something on the press and it's done and I'm like good to go. Like, I need shit that's quick and out the door because I hate thinking about eating, bro. It's such a dude. If one of my best friends used to be like, I wish we could just get like an injection or like an IV or drink some like flavorless something with nutrients and not have to worry about food because it takes so much time and you just want to do work and get back to it. It's
I
very
know.
true. It's very true.
I
Um,
don't understand foodies, bro. I don't.
me neither. Me
I wish
neither.
I could, because it's not like I don't like food. I
Yeah,
love food.
but I can't
I
spend all my money and time on it.
I just don't want to sit there fucking looking at it.
You're right.
I don't want to sit there looking at food.
It's a
Like
good
I have so
point.
many other things to look at, and
Yeah,
the motherfuckers are sitting there like, oh, food.
yeah.
I'm like, dude, like
Thinking
really?
about their next meal while they're eating that one.
Yeah, like yeah. I mean, I have friends that are such foodies, and it's so funny to me. Like, I remember I once went to the steak restaurant, and it was like on a date like a long time ago, and my buddy was waiting for me at the house, and I came back from the date, and he's like, tell me how it was. And I start talking about the date, and he's like, no, the steak. And I'm like, what? And he's like shaking. he's like, man, did you get the chard? You know where they charred on the outside? I'm like,
Oh shit!
what the fuck? like this
Dude's
for
living
real happened.
vicariously through you, coming off it.
Dude, this happened, and he's like actually a very famous producer. He's got like shit
Yeah,
with all my favorite artists, and he's like hilarious. I didn't know he was a foodie until that moment.
that's hilarious.
And I was like, "Oh fuck, you're a foodie? Like, fuck, dude, I've known you for so long, and I
Yeah, I
didn't
gotta
know."
get out the room. Like,
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I didn't know. Like, people go outside to eat,
yeah,
but yeah, like but yeah, having food on hand is such a lifesaver because like your energy dips all day, man. Just having a fucking apple will do. It's crazy what that shit will do for your creative process.
Another thing is kind of related to time management a little bit. This is like when I used to do drugs and shit. So on an off note, first of all, I'm working on like a sobriety documentary. I'm writing a book, and I'm trying to make an album and put them all out together, right?
Damn.
And what's crazy is in my documentary, I talk about how there's so many deals that I lost because corporations don't want to invest in a liability, right?
Yeah.
So they would see that I'm like posting pictures of weed, and it's like, all right, next artist, like, bro, like this is a real thing. Like everybody thinks posting pictures of their drugs are cool, and it's going to lead to some because everybody's smoking and shit. But talk about that a little bit. Like once you get into the higher levels of like people taking you seriously, like it's not really looked upon as like a good thing.
Well, I mean, yeah, who's gonna trust their money with some kid that's posting nugs on his Instagram, right? Like, it's just not unless you're the one driving traffic. If
Yeah,
you're the one driving traffic, it's fine.
yeah.
But like, I mean, I also like, when we were talking about contracts before, that's why like I mainly focus on easy, clear contracts where I assume all liability because that makes it be that I can be flexible. But at the same time, if you're fucking around, I can pull you off the song, which
Damn.
has happened on projects where I've had to pull someone off the song last minute because one thing or the next, and the company didn't want to take the liability, but I already sold the product. So I
Damn.
had to find another way, and I've done that. Uncle Ricky's been there several times where this has happened to me, and he's seen it himself. And like, which is what's crazy because like that's another thing. It's like, okay, so I can get, let's say, a rapper on or some singer on a commercial or a video game or whatever, but I'm gonna be assuming a shit ton of liability for them.
Yeah.
So they better make it worth my while, and they better sign the contracts that I need them to sign, so that I don't end up losing a client if they fuck up,
Damn.
because that's real.
Yeah.
And you only get and the crazy part is just as hard as it is to break into the industry, it is just as easy to just not get called for that second job.
Wow.
Every job can be your last when it comes to like something this big. This is millions of dollars that people are putting into shit.
That's another quote. Is I interviewed this very prominent woman in the industry, and she showed up an hour late, and she's like apologizing profusely to the
Yeah.
live. And she was
Yeah.
like, if this was anybody else in the industry, she's like, I would have been blackballed, and no one would have ever called me again just for being late and not. And I'm like, whoa, like wait,
Yep.
just for being late, like what?
Oh yeah. Dude, it's
Damn.
crazy. Well, because think about that, right? Like like what's funny is like, our music isn't this precious commodity, right? It's just a piece of a giant product. And usually it's actually the lowest part of most people's products budget. So that being said, you know, the callbacks, like we're so replaceable even if we're special. There's so many other people that are so talented that are just waiting for that like one slip up and you'll just have someone else slide into your slot and they'll
Yeah.
just keep going to that person. Like being late, like I don't fuck with people that are late. Like like everyone knows this about me. I'm the schedule Nazi. I'm Polish, but I should have been German. Like because I'm just all about like precision and I'm fucking brutal with it. If
And
you're late,
offending people
I'll
apparently.
move on. Why? I'm like Polish, but I should have been German because I'm a schedule Nazi. That's a pretty good joke. There's absolutely no fluff in that joke. That's pretty good.
Oh my
Um,
god.
but that being said, it's like, yeah, like, you have to be like, dude, you like it's crazy. Like Steve Aoki drinks water on stage, right? Like all these people that are doing epic amounts of work, they're not fucking around being late, And that's why it's like people also ask, oh, Genius is here too, dude.
Yeah.
He's sick.
Okay.
Like that's why also like, you know, you ask all these people like what they like, you're like, why do you think there's so much quote end quote bad music on the radio? There's two answers to that. One, well, because art's subjective. Your
Someone
opinion is
pays to
shit.
put it there also.
But like, but okay, so someone pays to put it there, right? But why do you think that shitty artist, like 99% of the time, that shitty artist still can't himself or herself pay to put it there? There's the funding to put it there on
Yeah.
the radio.
Yeah.
Still is usually a label backing it. Now, why would a label back that? Do you think a label would back, let's say, an 80% competent artist that
Yeah.
that yeah, like right now, if that 80% competent artist is incredibly on time, like if let's say they're competent in their art as far as like their music is like okay, but they work their ass off, they show up to everything, they're respectful, they answer every fucking email, they don't complain, they're flexible, they treat things well when they go wrong, blah 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 blah. That artist guaranteed will have way more shots at the hoop than anybody else that's there, that's doing better music, that isn't doing those things. The work ethic will trump your talent. It will.
Shit. Yeah, that's a good quote. And
People,
I think what you're talking about is building your leverage in a sense, right?
yeah, like it's about, yeah, like I just don't think that talent is that special. I don't think that good music is that special. I don't think that, like, I don't think that the good
Kind of
product
like
is
it's kind of like you can be as talented as you want, but if you're not working, who's gonna ever hear it, right?
exactly. If you're not, and if you're not showing up, if you're not putting the shit out, if you're not running the circuit, you're not going to be in the game,
Damn,
right?
good reality
So
check.
yeah, so like a lot of artists need to understand that, I think, and their careers would probably move a lot more swimmingly, because like that's why I don't sit like complaining about like, oh, this artist is trash on the radio or whatever. I'm like, yo, like they're doing things that are making it possible for them to move here. I
I'm like
wonder what those are.
I'm like, you know how many major songs I'm sitting on that I'm like, I'm just gonna wait for the perfect opportunity for like someone to want it, all of them on an album and just pitch it to. That's never gonna happen. Like,
Dude,
really,
Mason Rex just pulled up another producer that's crazy, by the way. You gotta scroll through and then start
where
checking out these people. But yeah, so like, I'm sorry to cut you off. I got excited. Mason, you excite me, you Russian motherfucker. Um, so yeah, like I think that
one of
like
those
people
things
just
where you just got to put it out, right?
yeah, don't be precious.
Yeah, yeah,
You just make more. Just make more.
you're right.
And the
Um,
craziest part is if you don't like, you can always pull it down and put it back out again. Like you can do all sorts of things. There's so many options.
yeah,
But you know what? The one option that won't work is not putting it out.
it's true, and it's only gonna take longer the longer you don't put it out too. So, the other thing was you're talking about like Aoki on stage drinking water. I'm like, bro, I relate to that so hard because you don't know how many times, I'm sure you can relate to this, where you're like drinking while DJing and you might make fuck ups or mistakes or do some dumb shit, hit the cue button, play the wrong song, fader to the wrong side, whatever. But
Dude.
but I feel so much more pressure when it's like a full club and you're like, all right, I really have to do this nice track. You know what I mean? Like your heart's just beating like crazy. I'm sure you've been there.
Yeah,
But
with the shaky hands and shit,
oh
trying
yeah,
to
bro.
move the fader, but your shit's going like
Yeah.
this. Yeah,
But
like
but on top of that, when alcohol's free, to have the discipline to be like, it's whatever, it's on my bar tab. I don't even want it. I'll get it for other people in the club. I don't have to
well,
drink.
that's exactly.
Yeah,
I'm like, I always get me and Ricky gave out our bar tabs all the time.
yeah.
And especially when we're like doing the strip club circuit, what we would do is we would actually give out drinks from our bar tab for people that were tipping the girls higher because we are trying to get the girls to get as much money as they could.
And that's how you, I mean, retain your job. Let's be real. People
Yeah.
keep coming back. Your girls are it's like a full circle. Like,
Yeah. It's just good business. I don't need to be there to get drunk. I'm going there to work.
damn.
Like, I don't know why artists think that their job is special enough where they can be hammered and do it. Like, that's cute and all, but like you can be hammered and drive a car too, but that doesn't usually work very well.
Ooh, that's a good quote.
Right? Like, so yeah, totally. I'm like, yeah, like, you know, I've always stayed very serious about that shit.
Word.
Like, I don't think I've ever done a job. I don't think I've ever done a night DJ'd or performed where I was even buzzed.
Damn.
I've had like one drink, and that was mainly to hold something in my hand, and I probably didn't finish it. It was like that. But like, you know, I'm not saying that like that's other people are wrong for doing it, but it just doesn't work for me. I want to be aware,
Word.
you know.
Shit. Any advice for like when artists start like getting in the studio or just making music in general? I know you're talking about like here's another example. Um, the engineer that I work with, his biggest pet peeve is don't ever come in here unprepared. I hate having to write lyrics with you. You know how you don't even know how common that is. Don't bring your friends that are just gonna take pictures and smoke and just
Oh,
chill.
yeah,
Like there's
yeah,
all these pet peeves that real engineers are like, bro, like that's what he used to tell me, like you're in the 5% of artists that I actually want to
yeah,
work with because you come prepared. Like that's a big
yeah.
deal. So just talk about a little bit, like how do you become prepared to a session? What does
You
that
know,
do?
actually, well, you can loop back to what you were talking about, which is managing expectations. There's absolutely nothing wrong with like if you're an artist going to work with an engineer, you should shoot a text or an email and hit them up and just ask them if they prefer you to like do you prefer me not to bring people? Do you prefer is there no smoke? What are the rules of your studio? I would love to know the rules of the studio before I show up.
Yeah,
Like what are some of the things that you appreciate and you don't? And if you just ask that'll go such a long fucking way. Being like, yo, okay, cool. Like I don't know how you work, so I want to learn that. So I'm respecting your process. What is your process? And if they hit you back, they'll be like, yo, yeah, okay, come prepared. Blah blah blah. I don't care if you smoke. Don't bring hose, or maybe do bring hose. I don't like, you know, everyone's going to be different.
yeah.
You know, when you're working with me, it's like just you almost will never get in the studio with me. Almost no one ever gets in the studio with me. I'm usually like only when I'm on a project, I get in the studio. Like otherwise, I'm usually working on my own, and 90% of the times I put out music without other artists on it.
Shit.
So because it's just faster for me,
Yeah.
right? So, but yeah, like I personally, I want people to have a good time. So I don't want people to show up and feel like they're in class when they're in my studio, but I do want them to show up expecting to finish a song and walk out with a song being done.
It's like you're
I
don't
don't,
waste my time. You're just as
yeah,
valuable.
don't walk out with a half song. Like, unless it's something special or something goes crazy wrong, like your half song is just a waste of both our times. And I'm not usually doing, like, you can't afford to pay me for my time because my time, I do music for fucking movies and video games. My time is priced way different than doing songs with artists.
Also, shout out to Heartless because he knows what I'm talking about. But it's the small gestures that kind of go a long way too. Like at the end of my sessions, I'll be like, "Yo, here's $20, whatever. Like, thanks for your time." And you might get some extra revisions if you don't like a mix, whatever. They go back and they change it for you. They
Yep.
remember you for the little shit. Or like I took note that this dude likes tea, so I'm like, "Yo, here's my favorite tea. Like, check this shit out." Like, oh damn, you just put me on
Yep.
something new. I'm gonna go check whatever. I would bring Palo Santo, you know, the Holywood, the stick.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
bring it to the studio, and he's like, "Yo, this reminds me of when I worked with Rick Rubin." I'm like, "Why wouldn't I want that impression of that
that's
dude in me?"
incredible.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean? I'm
totally.
like, yeah, it's just like, bro, any way that you can get people like to even remotely want to remember you or like work with you, it's the smallest things that can go a long way, in my opinion.
Well, also what it reaches back to is actually just a ancient custom of like it's a ritual that people used to do. It was an exchange of respect slash gifts. It was a gesture. It was an exchange of a gesture that you look at all these movies that you watch and blah blah blah. It's a basic rule of business. If you show your appreciation for somebody, it doesn't have to be something grand. It just has to be something.
And I'm talking about evoking this dude's smell. You know what I mean? Like that's nothing. That doesn't cost anything. Like
Yeah,
put
totally.
him in
I've had
put him
people
in a
evoke
different
my
time period.
smell in the studio in the wrong way. So good that you did it the right way. You
Yeah,
know,
I
like
feel you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like yeah, like I think that we should really pay more attention to like simple customs and rituals like that. Like people used to break bread back in the day when one kingdom visits the other kingdom, when one person visits the other person, they would bring something. Oh, here's a silk that is famous in my blah blah blah. It was just a way to show that you see the other person.
And we just translate the quote "break bread" into money now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I know, right? Yeah, break bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting because okay, I employ this in every aspect of my life all the time too. When I really like give a shit, for the lack of a better word. But
Yeah.
I got hit in my car once. I got like someone dented my door, some idiot, right? So I had to go get it fixed at the body shop. I'm like, all right, I roll up to the body shop. It was like a Friday and it was like really hot. So on my way to the body shop, and there was like other things wrong with my car. I stopped by and I picked up like a 12 pack of like Granville Island Pale Ale beer. And I got to the body shop and I was like, yo, guys, here's my car. And I'm like, give this to the boys, right? I'm like, they'll probably. He was so stoked. The guy, the manager guy, he's like, oh, they're going to be pumped. So he goes and gives them the beer. I'm like, I'll see you guys on the Monday, right? Whatever the fuck, right? Call me when it's done. I get there. Those motherfuckers did like all my other panels.
Oh dang!
They were like, see, like I just literally all I did is I just like threw them a case of beer because I was like, it's hot out. These guys are like literally sweating.
You made
I'm
all their
gonna,
days better. You feel me?
dude. They were like, yeah, right on. And
Tolerable.
so
Tolerable.
they threw me a bone. I was like, holy shit! I wasn't expecting them to do anything extra. I was just like being nice.
That's also how
They
that's
fixed the other 75% of my car for
bro.
free.
You just said the magic word. You weren't expecting it. You feel me?
Yeah,
Like that's when all the best things happen in life to begin with. Like if you go into shit not expecting it, don't manage. Like you learn to manage your expectations is what I meant. Like it's way more of a surprise anyway.
yeah. And what's crazy is that we do music, which is such a personal thing. You're like when you're making a song with somebody, you're creating a little life. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yo, what's up? What's up, Paladin? Like you're creating a little life, and then you're putting it out there to hopefully live its little life, right? And to treat the other person as though you're not doing that, like to treat the other person like it's a just an absolute transaction,
One
that's not
one
going to get you very far.
one of my quotes I always say is whenever you expect it is when it doesn't happen. And this goes to everything, bro. Like
I like that.
when I'm so excited about like getting some shit in the mail is when it never
Yeah,
gets delivered or it goes missing or bro, like no matter what. And I think it's just like the universe being like, yeah, you thought you can predict me. Let me knock you back down in place real quick. And
yep,
so everything that you always think about constantly, like, oh, this is gonna, I can't wait for it. Notice when shit goes wrong all of a sudden because you're expecting it to happen. Like in
yeah.
all aspects of life, I notice it's so common, and it gets on my nerves. But it helps you realize, like, just don't fucking think about it. Like, if it happens, cool. You can be grateful and appreciative in the moment, but don't like rely and get caught up on one thing. You know what I mean?
I just think it's yeah, I 100% agree, and I think that also is just important to come to the terms with the fact that almost everything always goes wrong, and that's
And
okay.
another good example is like how many hit songs are like predicted. Like I knew this was gonna be probably not many. You feel me? Like it's really there has to be some luck involved in like people deciding that it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't ever really like using the word luck, but I do think that there's definitely mechanisms, and like opportunity and timing.
Luck might be equated to like right place, right time. You feel me?
Yeah, totally. Right place, right time, and what you were saying, preparation.
Yep.
Usually it's preparation. Very seldom. Like I just refuse to buy into the Soldier Boy story. You know, oh, he made a song of Fruity Loops and it
Yep.
became the biggest thing. Like,
Yep.
yeah, sure, that happens. But also, people get hit by a manure truck while crossing the street. But like, that's probably not going to happen to you.
Good
You
point.
know, like I think that might happen in Back to the Future, like the original movie. I
Yeah.
think that was a scene in there.
Got a
But like,
Little DeLorean right here.
nice, right on. Oh shit, look at that. That's actually a great little moment.
Yeah,
Um,
I love designer toys. My shit.
that's sick, dude. But yeah, like I just think that people don't handle the like generally your day as a human being, especially a human being who is trying to like achieve something other than normalcy. Um, your general day is going to be a series of mild disappointments, right? Because
Yeah.
you set your expectations high, and you should, right? But that doesn't mean that like you should stop and be mad about them going wrong. It just means that you're working.
Word.
Like things are going to almost always not work the way you wanted them to. That's okay. You just got to keep going.
Bro, one of my biggest pet peeves, this is a little off topic, but I remember this kind of shit. Can you think of this situation you've been in where you do so much for people, like maybe you like always buy them some shit, like I got your food, whatever the fuck, and then like the one time that they do something for you, they kind of hold you to it, and they're like, yeah, well, what happened to my, or whenever we, bro, that's my biggest pet peeve because I'm the type of person where if I do something for you, I expect nothing because I can already think of all the things you've done for me in the past. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I'll immediately go back to like, yo, you just done this, you done it, the time that you were there, the one to the, and I'll never ask for shit back. But there's so many people that are like, where's my fucking that money I bought you lunch with that like 4 months ago or some shit? And I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, okay, I understand where I stand with you now because I wouldn't care about some petty shit like that. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
to me, everything should just be a gesture of like, yo, I want to do that. I don't expect anything, but other people don't think like that.
Well, I think a lot of people are taught to base their decisions around the model of scarcity,
Wow.
right? And
Uh,
that's
I don't think I
where
even know what that means, bro.
so
I can't relate
basically,
to that.
right? Like I don't look at my when I'm going out for a lunch and you're coming with me and I feel like buying you lunch. I don't look at that money as, oh, I'm running out of money faster.
Oh shit.
I don't operate around a scarcity model. I
Damn.
operate around I can either do this because I have enough resources or I can't right now. And that is it. And a lot of people, what they do is they put everything on a ledger. I don't think that, I don't think that you can quantify exchanges between friends and comrades and colleagues on a ledger. No amount of math is going to ever make it even because it's an emotional exchange more than a monetary one.
The irony is these people I'm referring to are typically like, man, like thousands of times better off with me. And I'm like, is this how you got your success and wealth? Is this
Possibly,
shit?
yes.
God,
But if that's what it is, then I don't want it.
that's a good point.
Like
Yeah.
that, I don't want that. Like imagine being that person.
Yeah.
Imagine being that person.
Yeah,
Imagine having
you
the
can't sleep at night.
audacity.
You can't sleep at night because you're thinking of the $5 or some shit.
Yeah, dude. I mean, here's the thing though. Like sometimes, you start feeling like, oh shit, I'm always treating the other person, and they might not even notice, right? And it's not that they mean bad, but then you bring it up, and I do. I will be like, yo, listen, like, holy shit, I think I paid for like 50 lunches. I'm gonna let you have this one, right? But it doesn't have to be some big deal. It's like if I notice that I'm feeling something negative around something, then I will bring it up so that I don't brood and let it build and then let it ruin something that I
Right.
have with somebody. So it's just general relationship maintenance between friends, between girls and boys, girls and girls, boys and boys, you name it, chickens and ducks probably. But really, like, I think that,
And if it was a big deal, then were you all that cool to begin with? You know what I mean?
yeah, it shouldn't be a big deal. But I do think that, um, I think that the problem isn't even that, let's say your homie's like hitting you up saying that. I think it's a lot in the way of how he's saying it. There's a million ways to break into a house, right? You can kick in a window, you can kick in a door, you can ring the bell. Someone will just let you in. There's all these ways to get into that house. Just like if let's say you're like, hey, I, for whatever reason, need to be tight on my money, there's a million ways to let your friend know that. And you can do it like a bitch and be a bitch about it.
Break his
Or,
window.
yeah, or you
Or
can ring the bell and get let in. You can
leave,
just
leave,
talk
leave
like a normal
some
human.
leave some gifts at the front door. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I just think it's like it's so funny because it's like how you frame the transaction. Because at the end of the day, everything is a transaction. It's an energetic transaction.
I feel
It
you.
always is. We're all trading energy with each other because we have a finite amount of time on Earth as conscious human beings. So, that being said, like thinking about these things and thinking about more constructive ways of going about our daily habits and the things that we're programmed to and taught, um, and employing them in your practices as an artist, as a musician, as a business person can go such a long way because a lot of artists are just floating around in their own little secret universe in their heads, and they're not really paying attention to other people.
Damn,
And then things go bad.
I feel you.
Um, yeah, but that being said, I actually only have a few more minutes left
Nah,
because
for
I
sure.
realized that we've been,
I was already getting to that point. But
yeah, yeah.
in terms of like business wise and stuff, what is your advice for like musicians like that are like trying to create a business or even just like looking for tax advice and like are you hiring people for that kind of information too?
Always trust the professionals around you. They will help you.
Word.
The thing is most businesses that you look at, I can't think of a single business that doesn't have a launch pad and a losses period and an investment round and blah blah blah. And you as a musician, you're creating product. You're creating product. Don't forget that. And so if you're going to be putting that product out, if you're expecting to make money off of your product, expect to pay other people to make sure that your business is running tight.
And and do you think it's a myth that let's say labels for example would take you more seriously if you're an established business? Do you think that really matters or they just pick up anybody off the street? Maybe you're more susceptible to be taken advantage of if you don't know the business, you know?
Well, they don't care about anything but is your song going to move?
Okay.
They don't give a shit. Why would you give a shit? I don't even give a fuck.
I
I'm
feel
going to be like, yo, like, is this song going to move? Does anyone care?
Yeah,
Your life
I'm
could be,
just I'm
if
just
I'm a
like if you're
label,
gonna partner with somebody, I would assume you want your business to be right. That's
yeah.
all.
Well, and it depends. It depends, right? Like, yeah, of course, the first question will be, how does your business run? But if your business isn't running, you could be a heroin junkie and your life could be a fucking dumpster fire. If your song is strong and people are buying it, the label will fix it. They will put in the people that need to be there to fix it. And that happens with a lot of artists. It's like, okay, well, the product is solid, it's moving, there is future in the product, but you as an artist have to also be prepared for the reality that you might lose that product
Damn.
to the label because you're a fucking mess.
Yes.
And when they invest, they're going to protect that investment. And for all you know, you could end up waking up in the morning and Shaggy is singing your song, and you're like, what the fuck?
That's a good
And then when
point.
he phoned in to complain, he's telling you it wasn't me, and you're like, what happened?
Yo, that's a
You
good
know?
point. There's a million ways to make money, and it might not even be you doing shit. It's a
Yep.
good point.
Oh yeah.
Couple more questions. Any artists off the top that like favorite that you've worked with? Maybe you want to like throw a couple like main ones out. I mean, you mentioned Nipsey, that was a big deal, but I don't really know who else have you worked with? Maybe even earlier in their careers or
I mean, I've worked with like Redman.
that.
I've worked on projects with RZA. I did a bunch of his music for his speaker line. I did a bunch of shit with my homie Sky Zoo. Um, but honestly, man, my favorite artists to work with of all time are like a bunch of the people that you saw on Cyberpunk
Yeah,
because I love those guys, and also Father Dude who was up in here, Uncle Ricky who was up in here, like a bunch of people that just peeked their head in here. Like I can't be like I don't really have like dude, my band with Illmind, Smokey Robotic, that was I would say that is my top. Like the shit that I did with my band back then is like my most cherished, like nostalgic, emotional memories in that sense because I spent so many years on the road with these guys. Like you can't replace that. You can't, that value of that. Um, so it's hard. It's hard to say, because I don't, I've never hit that point where it's like, oh, all my life I listened to Michael Jackson and I finally got to do a song with him. Like that was never my thing.
All right, couple more things. One, how did you get like what was the idea behind your other Spotify profile and becoming like a different artist for lo-fi? What was that all about?
Well, without getting into the specifics of it, I wanted to prove a point about treating yourself as a business and being and if you follow certain rules, it will work,
Wow.
and it worked.
Wow.
And it worked. We're talking millions of streams a month worked with
You're
like
living off it. That's good.
with
That proves the point in itself.
with sweat equity,
Shit.
right? Which is crazy. So that was a big part of it. I literally was like, yeah, I'm going to show that all this advice I've been given to a lot of my peers can be put into action. And I did that with that project.
Last question. You can take your time on this one. Influences growing up. What did you listen to?
Polish folk.
What?
Yeah.
All right, that was
Czer-
definitely the kicker. That was a good ending, I guess. Shit.
Czerwone gitary.
Damn,
Yeah,
so you
that's
know the language or what?
yeah, I'm fluent.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah. So a lot of Eastern European music originally. Yo, Hunter's in here. Hunter's crazy too, bro. Like, dude, we got some dope people pulling up in this live stream, man. It's crazy. Such an ill producer, man. So yeah, like I grew up listening to Polish folk, and then I got into hip hop right after. It was like Polish folk, then like Snap. Remember Snap?
Yeah.
I think they had the "I got the
Yeah.
power." Like that was such a great era in music. And then it was just like, dude, hip hop,
But like,
yo,
who are your
like
favorite rappers in that sense?
um, I think Lords of the Underground are my favorite rap group still. Like as far as like dating back that far, as far as how much of a influence they had on me, and obviously Wu-Tang. Um, but like my favorite more contemporary rappers are like what we were talking about before. Nipsey's one of my favorite, like most poignant MCs.
Yep.
He could just breathe for a few seconds before he says the next word, and you're still like
Stuck.
paying
What's coming
attention.
next?
You're like
Yeah.
waiting for the word. Like
Yeah.
incredible artist. I would recommend him to everybody, and I'm a Kanye fan,
Word. Me too.
which is like a controversial thing for a lot of people. But nah, I'm a Kanye fan. The guy is
I
super
consider
talented.
myself getting onto him late because I didn't care about it until 808s, and I was like, "This is the
Oh wow,
best
yeah,
shit." I skipped school to go buy 808s.
nice,
Yeah.
right? So that's great. Yeah, like that those like I'm kind of all over the map, and like
Need a
I also
playlist,
listen to a lot of African music and shit. I do a lot of Angolan soul and stuff from the
bro.
'60s.
Make a playlist. Throw your favorites on Spotify. I will check it out for sure if you made one.
Oh, I could, yeah, I could throw you together something weird, but you're gonna have a weird time
I don't mind.
listening to it.
Yo, Conrad's faves or some shit.
Yeah.
I got a playlist called Rap Gems, and it's like all my favorite songs I would ever DJ. So I mean,
Nice,
why not? You know what I mean?
nice. Yeah, bro. Yeah, man, I'm down. I'll do that. But yeah, it was great chopping it up
For
with
sure.
you, bro. Thanks
All right,
so
man.
much for the opportunity,
Hell
and
yeah,
once again, for extending opportunities my way. I appreciate it.
for sure.
I got back to the emails and shit. Now I'm just waiting for responses. So feel free to like tap in. But I did my thing that I needed to do.
Dope. Yeah,
Um,
this went way longer than I thought, but I loved it, bro. I appreciate everybody.
holy shit! Did
Great.
we just fucking talk for 2 hours?
Probably longer than that, honestly.
Is this our first date? Is this like a first date?
Usually it's capped at an hour, so I'll.
I'm like sitting here like twirling the cord
That's
to
your
my
hair.
headphones. Like, so what you thinking about?
Is that your hair? Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
All right.
Yeah, it was awesome,
I'm gonna start calling you New Money once we get money together. So.
dude. For real though,
Word.
that's great. That'll be 2.0, man.
All right, bro.
All
Appreciate
right.
your time. I know everybody else in here did, so thank you very much for taking your time out, bro. Appreciate it.
Thank you too, man. You have a good night.
All right.
I'll be speaking with you. Cheers.